Whether you're a Class 5 rafter or just looking for a couple of laughs, these two have you covered. Welcome to Aaron and Zach's Better Than Mediocre Rafting Show.
What's up, Aaron? Happy Friday.
Yeah, happy Friday, Zach. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. I think I just got an email from Zach Collier telling me that he's out of the office. I'm on the Middle Fork.
I'm supposed to be in the Middle Fork today. I was at Boundary Creek yesterday. As we put boats in the water and hurt my back. So I hiked out. I didn't hike out, but I drove out. We basically covered me as a guide, and I couldn't go because I hurt my back. So I'm not in the Middle Fork right now. I'm here with you doing the Gear Garage.
Yeah, fired up.
Yep. So those of you that have never watched the show, shame on you. You've missed out on a lot of mediocre content. This is Zach and Aaron's naive and entitled rafting show. This is entertainment. This is not, I wouldn't learn from this. This is just Aaron and I talking. And sometimes Aaron takes devil's advocate stances and says some things that are a little sketch, I think. So we'll just call this entertainment. If you want to learn something, you should take a class from Aaron.
A class from me.
Yeah.
Come on out, visit me on the island. We'll go rafting together, and you can learn.
But if you want to learn how to be better after, you have several choices. You have ARDA guide schools. Oars does rowing classes. We do rowing classes. We sell an online course. That's actual education. This is just entertainment. This is just us goofing around.
There's some great college courses out there as well, Zach.
Yep. Oh yeah, Aaron's Lake Tahoe Community College rafting course. Yep. This is a show we do every Friday. We love it if you subscribe, if you like. Also, those of you that are members, thank you very much for supporting the show. We really appreciate it. And with that, let's get started. Aaron, we have a good show. You had a topic you want to start the show off with? I want to just. We'll start with that. We'll talk about science. I'll go into the science rant, and then we got a whole bunch of videos to review.
Okay, here's my question for you.
Okay.
Permits on the Middle Fork.
Okay.
If you don't go last minute and you don't use your permit, does that mean you can't apply again the next year or something like that? Do you get put on a blacklist?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe somebody in the comments knows.
We were having a conversation about this. Someone said that they thought there was something like this. And I was like, huh? And then because I was like, well, that's kind of messed up because if it's high water, there's
exceptions for high water. As outfitters, we have to turn our permits in 21 days in advance. And if we don't, we lose that trip the next year. It's a big penalty. Unless it's high water. If I had canceled, it was 6 feet when we launched a week ago or 2 weeks ago, whatever that was, I could have canceled that trip with no penalty. And I'm sure there's something similar for private boaters where if you get a permit and you cancel and the water's at a certain level, you're fine. But if you cancel in July 27th, the day before, there's probably some sort of penalty.
I'm going to say this. If you know if we're looking and we know the water is going to be high, or most likely it's going to be high.
Yeah.
I feel like a bunch of permits were going unused this last week. A friend of mine was like, all these permits going unused. It's too late for us. And I almost feel like it'd be nice if it's something like, hey, if the river is below this amount, you got to go, or something or something where it's like, you gotta say, hey, we're pretty sure the river is going to be this high or above, or this high.
Yeah. Or who's going to manage that, Aaron? Who's going to manage that?
I don't know. You understand my concern.
It's not the Forest Service's job to manage that. I think so. We launched when I was there 2 nights ago, getting ready to launch this trip, and there's 2 outfitters there the night before. That was it. Oh no, and 1 Jeep showed up late at night. The next morning, there were 3 groups: a group of 2, a group of 1, a group of 4. They could have combined to 1, and so there was a lot of capacity.
Yeah.
Because so many people had canceled. The river did drop to 5 feet, and so it's pretty runnable at 5 feet. But you didn't know that a few days before.
No, and more the other end, just cancel early versus wait till the last minute.
Yeah,
if you're worried about being too high, cancel early.
I think that's a message. If you have a permit, it help other people get a trip. Help other people who have the skills.
Cancel early.
Get a trip together.
Don't wait. It's hope it comes out. Just cancel early. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just hard because people. I think people have spent 20 years to get a permit. And they've organized all their friends. It's really hard to cancel a trip. You really want to wait as long as you can to see if something magical happens. And not everybody has the ability to look at a flow graph and a snow chart and make an educated decision.
But Zach, I'll say in the same breath, if you're applying for a permit in early June, you kind of should be willing to run high water. If you don't want to run high water, you shouldn't be applying for an early June permit. And taking that from someone who can run it at those flows. Right?
No, I mean, I agree with you. I would.
You see what I'm saying?
Hold on, Aaron. I agree with you about that, but I feel like a lot of people just don't know that early June can be high water. When they apply for a permit, they just don't have that knowledge. So there's not places they can learn that. So I think people make mistakes. Like, I'm going to get a metaphor permit. I'm going to apply for early June, and then they learn later on the water can be high. So I think it's not their fault. It's just
I'm going to say something here. I'm going to say something here really rude. If you don't understand that there can be high water early in the season, you probably shouldn't be putting in for a permit to raft the Middle Fork. If you don't understand that concept, you probably don't have business being out there leading a trip, because it means you probably don't understand a lot of other important things about running a safe trip.
You may not. Yeah, you may not. I mean, Aaron, way too many people apply for Middle Fork permits than should do it. A lot of people, like, I get all these calls like, hey, I got a Middle Fork permit for August 27th. Is it going to be too low? I'm like, what? Why are you asking me that now? And it's so hard to get a permit that people keep trying. And then when they get one, they don't know what to do with it. And so I think you're right. It's a good form to only apply for a permit if you know what you're doing. But I don't think people don't have to. There's no regulation they have to. And it's not good for them to just blindly apply for a permit and then figure it out, or hold on to it for way too long and then turn it in, because it's not fair to other people who have the skills.
Such a limited resource. It'd be one thing if you could go anytime, and there's tons of them not being used. Yeah, but we got a lot of good comments.
You lose it if you don't cancel more than 2 weeks out on the Four Rivers. Got it. So we can cancel 5 feet at no penalty. Yeah, I think in the Middle Fork, I've seen it written down somewhere. I don't know.
So there is a penalty.
Nick, it's funny. We missed you last week, Nick.
Yeah, welcome back.
I'm actually afraid, Nick. I'm afraid to put you and Connor together. And that the more I've talked to him, so I have to keep a close eye on that trip. Footy. I tried to download it before the show, but I didn't quite get it. So I'll put some more footage of that Middle Fork trip. We launched Indian. I videoed pretty much everything that was big below Indian. So we'll get some more stuff out. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, right.
Hey, we got some. By the way, we should do a contest today, Aaron. If you can think of a quiz, we don't have to do it now. The choices people would have to win are these coffee mugs. These new.
Those look Christmassy.
They're really nice. They're double walled.
Is that a Christmas tree coffee mug?
Yeah, it's a Christmas tree coffee mug. It's like a Christmas mug with a list of the 5 rivers we do on the back. You see it?
We gotta make you bigger. Hold on.
Don't make it bigger.
There we go. What does it say? What are your 5 rivers? The Chetco, the Illinois, the Middle Fork, the Oahe, and the Rogue. Oh, cool. Yep. That's really neat.
And then it has our logo, which is also Christmas tree. And it's one of those mirror cups. It's super high quality. So the way you could win is one of these brand new coffee mugs we just got. You could win a pair of Cobra Orlocks. I'm dying to get rid of these things. Or this book, which is to me the quintessential river book, Whitewater Safety and Rescue by Franco Ferraro. So when Aaron comes up with the question later, we'll give what a member. I give you a member. Sorry, we're giving free stuff to members. Those of you that are members pay a few bucks a month to support the show. We appreciate it. And we want to thank you by sending you stuff back. So we'll have a question at some point, or if somebody can think of a good question for us, that'd be cool. Oh, sweet! Thanks for taking off from work. That's a good idea. You should take off from work. I take off from work to do the show.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Rubber wasn't hard, but the waves were huge. The lower end. It was 6 feet on our trip, but if the lower end felt like it was pushing 8, like Big Creek was massive. So it was definitely washed out, but the waves are big. Yeah, I think TD 1150 was. I think I met him at Put In at Indy. I think it's the same guy, and it was big waves, but they weren't that flippy. And yeah, Kramer was nothing. Kramer was easy. Cool. So should we start, Aaron? Let's talk about Bitcoin and NFTs real quick. So you brought this up. I know you hate this topic.
I don't want to talk about it here.
We're gonna lose our
because I don't know anything about it.
Okay, I'll do a quick talk about it. So this came up because Aaron brought up a guy we both follow.
Let's get the cards out. I'd way rather have the cards right now than this.
I can find them. I can do both.
Okay, go ahead.
There's a guy we follow, Gary V,
No, guy you follow.
I follow. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Who I just I for a living I'm into marketing and sales, so I follow people. And he has this new thing called VCon where you can only go to his conference if you buy an NFT of his. And the NFT is a ticket for 3 years to go to the conference, right? And so Aaron asked me, what's the difference between a Bitcoin and an NFT? And Bitcoin is a digital asset. NFT is like a piece of artwork. There's a lot of Bitcoin.
Does it have to be? Does it have to be?
It has to be a unique thing. It's NFT stands for non-fungible token. So it's not.
How's
fungible.
it unique? If he's got like 5,000 of them, that's not unique then.
Well, so you can have that's a good point. You can have he has 30 different characters. You have to buy one of them, and there's 10 copies of each.
So it's like a Bitcoin.
No, it's not. It's art.
Because it's not, but you can't protect it as well. It's not blockchain, so someone could steal it.
It's on the blockchain. That's the whole point. It's on the blockchain. They have smart contracts. So if you buy the NFT from Gary Vee for like $2,000 or whatever, and then you sell it for $4,000, Gary Vee gets 10% of the $4,000. So it has built-in smart contracts where you can keep track of things automatically. So think of Bitcoin is like the currency. Okay. The NFT is like the art. It's artwork that comes with abilities to do things. So
it's basic. Yeah, you could use it in the same way. Yes. Yeah. You bet.
No, you can't. You can't buy things with NFTs.
Why can't you? Yeah, well, you totally could.
You can turn it back into money the same way you turn art back.
Why can't I give you my NFT? I could give you my NFT to buy a raft. Hey, or you want my NFT and I'll buy a raft from you.
No, I want your Bitcoin to buy the raft.
No, but you can get the NFT to go hang out with Gary.
I don't want the NFT because the NFT might be worthless. I don't want to hang out with Gary
Vaynerchuk one if you wanted to hang out with them.
Yeah, but that's called a trade. You could trade your NFT for a raft.
Yeah, the Bitcoin's the same thing. You're trading your Bitcoin for a raft.
Bitcoin is a currency. I'll tell you what, I'll sell you a raft for 0.3 Bitcoin right now, and we're good.
Okay.
All right.
We got to move on from this.
Okay, so anyway, I'll tell you why I wanted to talk about this. I've been thinking, Aaron, speaking of VCon or whatever, that we should organize some sort of boating conference.
What? And they have to buy an NFT to go on it? Oh, God.
I mean, that's the way to do it. It'd be a fun way to do it. And the NFT would cost $10.
Oh, my goodness.
Or
got really popular 10 years from now, and all of a sudden it's $5,000 and we get 10% of that, and then we're making mad bank.
Either NRS is going to sponsor this show, or we're going to make some money off NFTs. So, but I mean, let's ignore the NFT part. I've thrown this out because I think it would be fun to once a year gather people around and have guest speakers. The first year would just be free.
Yeah.
Let's just meet. Everybody meet October 10th in this town. You 6 people be guest speakers. If there's 8 people there or 100 people there, let's have a conference where we talk about best practices, talk about new equipment. Wouldn't it be cool to have an annual symposium for rafting?
That sounds amazing.
And
too bad someone doesn't have a piece of property they could host that on.
I've been thinking about it.
Yeah, no, Zach, I think that sounds amazing.
So
sounds really fun. Just
NFTs. I'm thinking about this. So let's say 20 people show up. People from around the world show up and we have discussions. We could then live broadcast all the discussions. So you could be here in person, but the education is intended for everybody and it's free.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
So the in-person is more networking, getting together, seeing friends and sharing ideas, but then it's information available for more people. So I've been thinking quite a bit about that. See, look, he'd buy an NFT, $10 NFT to go to the conference.
Thanks. Clearly I'm not your financial advisor because I would not recommend buying any NFTs.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, rotating cities would make sense, except that I don't want to organize a conference that rotates cities. I might organize something in Hood River, right? But I don't want to be like an event planner. I mean, if it's in Hood River, it's pretty easy for me.
I think you do it once in Hood River since you know it, see how it goes, and go from there.
Yeah.
Don't get ahead of ourselves.
It's everything though. The first year it'll be 8 people, and I'll be cool, it's 8 people, and we all got better. And then the next year, it'll be 20.
And maybe you do it a few years in Hood River, and then all of a sudden it gets to this point, and then people are like, "Hey, I'd like to host it here," and you're like, "Okay, this person's on it. Sure, let's do one out in West Virginia." Yeah. So yeah.
Anyway,
that's an amazing idea, Zach. Fantastic. And I'm glad you've got lots of free time to do this.
I will in October maybe. But, imagine if I was like, Aaron, I need you to come and speak about blah, 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 blah. You'd be like, oh, I'm honored to be part of your conference and as a guest speaker. and you pay your own flights out here, and you'd be and then we can hang out afterwards and go boating. All right, let's move on.
I think that's the key. It's got to be someplace where you can go paddling in October.
Yeah. So, or like somewhere people want to go, like Hood River. I think people might want to come to.
When you can go paddling in October.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'm not. Yeah.
So before we get to video review, let's talk about science some more. Last episode of this, I got in this science talk, and it really like bothers me. I'm going to reiterate what I'm thinking. When I'm getting in discussions with people about boating, and they start saying things and pretending like they know science, but they don't. Remember that discussion we had last time?
Yes. I think we were both on the same page about this.
Yep. And I thought of some examples that I wanted to use to really illustrate this. The first one happened on a trip just last week, where one of the guides, I was like talking to him, and he's like, "Hey Zach, I'll come right back to this discussion. I need to rotate my Dutch oven." I was like, "Wait, are you messing with me?" He's like, "Yeah, I need to spin my Dutch oven." And I'm like, "You mean with a left-handed hammer? What do you mean spin your Dutch oven?" And it turns out people think that you need to spin your Dutch oven every 15 minutes or it won't cook evenly.
Okay, I have some people who I really respected who do this, and their reasoning makes sense to me. They say when it's windy, you need to rotate it because if there's a good breeze or something,
if it's windy,
if there's a breeze, not even that big of a breeze, but there's a breeze, not even that big of a breeze. If there's a noticeable breeze, you need to turn it.
I've heard that. I could see if it's breezy, but if it's breezy, what do you do instead, Aaron?
You put the windbreak in front of it.
Yeah, just make a windbreak. Yeah, Nick, there's a pretty good chance it was Connor. Yeah, it sounds it. Yeah, there's a pretty good chance.
I've heard people I'm going to say this. People get into the Dutch oven to the point where they think there's this huge science to it, and I'm like, maybe there is, but it's pretty inexact, man. Like you put some coals on top and it's on the bottom. Oh, you have to have this many coals. There's a lot of variables. How warm and how cold is outside of using. I mean, there's so many variables. How much material is in there? It's like. Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot to it. It's just once you've done 100 of them, it's really easy. But when you're learning, there's a lot of ways. Like, how many exact coals do I put on? Make sure it's level. Think about the wind. It's just like when you've done 100 of them, it's just like you just do it. It's not even hard. But your first 20 is tricky. I just want to go back to this science thing because this is irrespective of wind. There's people think that you need to spin your Dutch oven, and I just want to say, like,
when you say spin it, so the coals aren't in the same place on top.
You either spinning the lid,
spinning the bottom,
or turn the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, unless you really do a bad job of balancing your coals on top, then maybe if you put them all on one side, then you're gonna have to spin it. But if they're fairly evenly distributed, the variance in the temperature of the Dutch oven without wind is going to be minimal.
Yeah. And I think this goes back to when people just like made coals on the fire, right? Like if you have charcoal, the coal is going to be super even. But if you're just like shoveling coals from the fire, I can see, because then the coals may not be perfectly even.
But even that, you're continuing to shovel more coals on top, so it doesn't matter. And you're just kind of getting them flat around there. And you're not like leaving them for an hour. You kind of continue to add more coals when you use wood because it burns down way quicker. Yeah. Like, but anyway, having done that multiple times using like wood coals, not coal coals, I don't think a need for it there either. Zach, there's so many things that people say you need to do, and you're like, what?
And that's my whole point. This is one of those things where I'm like, this is ridiculous. Somebody one time said this once and like taught like 10 people this, and it spreads like wildfire. And if you just understand heat transfer a little bit, which is science, this isn't that hard.
I think there's important to ask the question why. And have you heard about my mom's ham?
No.
I learned this from Larry Gunther.
Okay.
Have you heard about my mom's ham? Hey, Mom, why do you cut off the ends of your ham when you bake it in the oven? Oh, because my mom cut off the ends of her ham. Hey, Grandma, why did you cut off the ends of your ham?
Yeah.
Because my mom did it. Hey, Great Grandma, why do you cut off the ends of your ham when you put it in the oven? Well, because my pan was too short, so I'd have to cut off the ends so it fit in there. And I think there's so many things like that get passed down. And at one point, there was a reason it was done, and it doesn't make sense anymore. And I think one of the things is like, you see a lot of that with stuff that was for bucket boats that still happens in self-bailers that doesn't need to happen.
Yeah.
Like the wood floor on top of the self-bailer,
yep.
The drop decks and stuff like that for soft stuff. And You see a lot of that there, but I think there's a lot of that goes on the My Mom's Ham stuff where it's like, there was a reason back when the equipment was different, the situations different. Yeah, we had to do that, but we don't need to do it anymore.
I think there's a ton of it, and I think people back up their things with like one example of one time why it might have mattered, or like one anecdotal thing, like, oh, you got to always do it this way, and it's insane. I've been using this term a lot. Actually, Heidi points out, you don't know what you don't know. Like people,
that's true.
We all think we're totally competent, and we all have holes. We just don't know what our holes are. Like you can't. Like I'm missing holes in my education for boating, but I don't know what those holes are. You know, how do I learn what those holes are? So
yeah,
I think that's a really good point. Yeah, we could talk about Dutch ovens for an hour, Gianna, but that's a great point. The cast iron is going to cook better. It's going to have, whatever. We use aluminum because they weigh less. It's just less to carry, but whatever.
And aluminum is good for you too, right?
No, doesn't it give you Alzheimer's disease or something?
Yeah, I think Alzheimer's. Yeah.
Yeah, I think people, it's maybe not the best to eat out of, maybe. I don't know. But someday they'll say cast iron Dutch ovens cause some other disease. So you never know.
It provides iron, which is something you need, Zach.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you need iron. You need iron in your diet. So cast iron.
There you go. Okay, so anyway, back to so that's one thing. I'm just gonna say like rotating Dutch ovens is just nonsense. That's just my opinion. I could see maybe using aluminum Dutch ovens in the wind with no windbreak. I could see doing it then.
I'm gonna ask you: are you good at doing brownies in the Dutch oven? I think that's the hardest thing to cook in the Dutch oven.
It's super easy.
Do you like your brownies like dry hard, or do you like them kind of soft in the middle?
I like them a chewy.
Chewy, like dry chewy, or like
not dry. Nobody wants dry brownies.
You scoop it out and use a spoon and serve it in a bowl, like lava cake style.
You don't want lava cake, and you don't want dry. You don't want cracked. You want in between. You want chewy, like moist.
That's why I think it's a tough one. And then do you let them cool?
No, it's the easiest. All you do is put the batter in there, and you're good.
I see so many people screw up brownies. It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable how many people screwed up. I'll tell you one thing.
The cake's way easier. Everything's easier than brownies.
Who knows? But our last trip, we had 2 brownie packages for a group of 12. And I was like, when you do 2 packages in a 12-inch Dutch oven, it's too tall and it's hard to have it not be gooey. So like shorter is better. So I'd rather do like 1 package in a 12-inch than 2 packages in a 12-inch because it'll make them the right size and cook the best. But Todd says you can get I don't know. I mean, it's minor.
Todd, are you talking on the bottom? I can see on the bottom.
As long as the coals are spread out equally, as long as the coals are spread out equally, you can get minor hot spots. But the key is like spreading out the coals. If you put all the coals on one side, you're very right. It has very different heat transfer properties than cast iron, and that's where like wind will blow the heat off right away. Like the cast iron will hold it better, and the cast iron will heat more evenly because the heat will disperse evenly and hold in the cast iron. Where in the aluminum is like it's kind of passing through immediately. Yeah. But as long as you put the right number of coals properly spread out, it shouldn't be a problem. Cake or fudgy? Those are the choices. Cake or fudgy? I think I like fudgy. The swimmer versus rope speed and current is good example of this one. We actually did this experiment 2 falls ago. Nick, I'm a little confused. And what goes faster? When you throw a throw bag, what goes faster, the swimmer or the rope? Which one do you think it is, Aaron?
I think it doesn't matter. Just throw the rope straight across them. I'm not worried about it.
Okay. Well, we did
I think it depends on the current. It depends on what. If the bag is in the eddy on the far side, I think there's a lot of variables, like Nick said. So I don't even get in there. Just like throw the bag across them, hit them in the face with the bag. Yeah. One of those 2.
All right. Let's move on to the other science one.
All right. So.
Oh, go ahead, Aaron. Sorry.
I might have a question, Zach. You can tell me if this is not a good question for the. Okay. If I have a raft that's empty, and then I pump it full of air and top it off, which is heavier and why? If we're talking about science and rafting,
is the raft full of air heavier than the raft with no air in it?
Which one is heavier? Or maybe they weigh the same. And then why is that?
Well, the air has a little bit of weight to it. So
Zach, we were going to ask this to give someone a present.
Oh, okay.
Zach. Oh, jeez.
Okay. Come up with a better question. Come up with these trivia or something.
Well, we're just leave them dangling and just move on from this.
Yes, the answer is the air has a little bit of weight to it, so one of the air is heavier.
Well, particularly when it's positive pressure in the raft, right? Because you've got like 3 or 4 atmospheres.
Yeah.
So the raft, a lot of people say the raft is lighter when it's full of air. That used to drive me crazy. That was one.
Why would they think that?
Because they say you pumped it full of air, so it's lighter. It doesn't make sense.
If it was helium.
Yes, I know. Yeah, okay. I know. But they're like, because we will be carrying the rafts down to put in on the 12 minutes. So let's pump it up first to make it lighter. And I'm like,
hey, by the way, Nick is our resident official scientist. He actually, I mean, Aaron and I know a little bit of science, but Nick is a degree in physics and is studying engineering for a PhD program. So Nick is going to be the final say on this stuff, I think. Yeah, everybody knows this. Okay, Aaron, we'll come up with a better question. All right.
Oh, man.
Let me tell you the next science thing. I argued this to death all spring. I was on a trip where everybody in the trip thought I was wrong. Here's the thing. If you have to pee in the middle of the night, are you warmer if you hold the pee? Like, does holding pee make you colder? That's the question.
Well, I know the answer to that one. That's an easy
answer.
One.
What's the answer?
The holding the pee in will not make you colder. The holding the pee in will make you warmer in some ways. And that being is you got your heat loss is on the surface of your body. Unless holding that water in your bladder makes your skin like bulge out and you have more surface area, then it could. But since it doesn't, but it just makes you really uncomfortable and it sucks. So that's a whole separate issue.
So this is what everybody says. You're warmer if you go pee. I was on a trip where every guests and guides, every single one said you will be warmer if you get up and pee in the middle of the night. And we argued it, and like 3 of the guys on that trip were like, "Oh, I took our bound class. The instructor said you should pee," over and over and over. And we're about to argue right now. People are going to get super mad at me right now about this. But your pee is inside your body.
Yes.
Right. And you're not losing heat to your pee. But everybody seems to think that your body is busy heating up the pee, but it's already at your body's temperature.
Now, here's a separate question, Zach.
Yeah.
Let's say I was hypothermic and you need to warm back up. Would it be better off expelling the pee then? Yes.
If you need to warm back up?
If my body temperature was down to 90 degrees and they were trying to warm me up.
Including your pee. Including your pee is 90 degrees.
Everything in my body is 90 degrees. So I'd want to pee that pee out to have less mass.
To heat back up. Faster. Yeah. Yep.
If I'm trying to warm up, yes. If I'm at the temperature I want to be, no. And if I'm getting cooled down, no. Because it's going to help keep me warmer.
The pee, so your body's 97 degrees or whatever. The pee is at that temperature, right? And so you're not heating up to 98. It's at the temperature of your body. You don't have to keep heating it up. What Aaron's saying is if your whole body goes to 90, including the pee, to warm back up, you have to get that thermal mass of the pee back up to 97. It takes energy. So you'd want to displace the pee so it's easier to heat your body up.
So if you're cold and you're trying to warm up in your sleeping bag, it makes sense to pee before you get in your sleeping bag.
Yeah, check out next comment. We told kids that so you'd pee at night and not get UTIs. So Nick, you lied to them. You basically lied to kids. Yeah. Speaking of that, Nick, I got to tell you another story about Connor later. I got lots of Connor stories for you.
Yeah, actually, Nick, when I worked for Outward, we did the same thing, but we talked about the hook and fecal compaction to get them to go poop because a lot of them would poop out there and scare them that they get fecal compaction. And some poor kid would come up after that little campfire store crying because they're worried they're going to have to get the hook to clear out their poop. So you gotta play the edge of truthfulness.
Lie. You know you're lying. It's not the edge of truthfulness. That's straight up lying.
Zach, that part is
Nick lied.
Nick lied. Ours wasn't a lie. If you hold it too long, you will get fecal compaction, and then you got to go clear it out. So don't hold your poop too long.
All right. Well, I think we move on from the P one maybe.
Yes.
But there's a guest on the trip who's willing to bet me $1,000 on this, and because they're all super wealthy, and I didn't do it because I was like, maybe there's something I'm missing here. But we looked up when we got home, and I was right.
Now let's go to the Andrews about draining. Oh, another myth. Both mentioned.
All right, we'll catch up with where's Andrews.
Yeah, this is a good.
Both mentioned we keep them expanding, attracting more with heating and cooling. I mean, it might. I don't know the properties of nitrogen, but there's some. I mean, it depends on the properties of nitrogen versus oxygen.
Well, it's N2, O2. You got to look at the pure. Wait, man, yeah, that's too. That's getting a little too.
Like different. And Nick, you probably know the answer to this. Different gases will expand and contract with heat differently. So nitrogen might be better. I have no idea. More calories trying to hold your pee. Oh, like your body holding your pee.
Yeah. You're gonna be like holding down, and you're gonna burn more calories. So
you're just like sitting there trying to hold. Yeah, that makes sense. I think people though were telling me no, your body's busy heating up your pee. My point is, it's already at the temperature.
But Zach, if you get into your sleeping bag and you're cold and your body's trying to warm its core temperature up again, then it is important to pee before.
Assuming your pee drop temperature too.
Like, well, exactly. Your whole body's the same temperature, pretty much.
No, it's not. It's not your body. Like when your temperature drops, it's like your whole body doesn't drop a degree. It's like graduated. So your pee is. Here's my thing. If you're hypothermic,
okay,
your body's probably 90.
The surface
yeah, your pee is really insulated, so it's the last to lose the heat. So I'm guessing if you're 90 degrees, your pee is probably like 95 or something. It's probably helping. It's thermal mass helping keep your body warm.
Well,
so if you let go of that thermal mass, you might be in trouble. Yeah. Heidi's smart. She knows she gets it. Yeah. Holding keeps you awake, so you notice. Go up. Yeah. We got some smart.
Yeah,
our viewers are smart.
Yeah, you guys are pretty smart.
Except we have one dishonest person here, Nick, but the rest of them are smart. Drain water. Yeah, we can have. Hey, another one. Right, we can have the same discussion.
Well,
the science of this is the same.
The cool one, and that's an interesting one. Is people say, "Oh, rots out your ice," I don't. The only thing that I could see is this is. There's a couple of things I've thought about. I've thought a lot about this.
Okay. I know the answer.
So, let's just say you had an aluminum-sided cooler for a second.
Yeah, because we all have aluminum-sided coolers. That's super smart.
Let's just say where it transfers heat much more easily, right?
Cool. Yeah.
And I have a block of ice in the middle of it.
Okay.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, does the air going to transfer heat to that block of ice as fast as the water would? Like from the aluminum outside going into the container. That's the heat transfer is an interesting one. In terms of the thermal mass, I understand the thermal mass aspect of it, and it's the same as the pee. But the heat transfer of it, of like if I took that pee and I was just trying to keep that pee warm in my tummy, and I had nothing around it, or would it stay warmer or colder? You know what I mean? Or versus if there's stuff up against it that's allowing and heat to flow through it.
Well, it's a little different mechanism because there's a lot more conduction happening when it's next to the aluminum.
Exactly.
In a cooler, there's not really conduction happening.
But there is some though.
But very little. That's the point of a cooler. That's why we don't use aluminum for cooler. There's very little conduction happening.
But there is, right? It's happening.
That's how it's losing heat. It's through conduction. That's the only way it's losing heat in a cooler is.
So my question is like, so the air, it goes through the air, and if that ice is not touching the sides, it's just the air, and the air warms up. Does the ice?
So just like remember, right? Heat transfers away. Like you don't make things warmer. Heat transfers out. So think about the block of ice. Like
how fast the heat's transferring into the block of ice.
Yeah. Sorry, the heat's transferring. It's going from harder to colder. Yeah. So heat's coming in, and like through the aluminum, it's coming very fast because like a direct chain just goes straight to it. So it's going to heat up really fast. So I mean,
you see my question with it though is like
not really. I think
the water versus the air is better at insulation than water.
Uh-huh.
If I am in a 0 degree box of air versus a 0 degree box of water, I'm going to cool off way faster in that box of water.
So you're saying you think that the water is helping conduct heat faster than air?
It does.
Yeah, it does.
It does conduct heat faster. But the question is, does that mean that the heat coming through the cooler, because you use air as insulation in a lot of places, right? Mm-hmm. Air is used as insulation in a lot of places. So is that air between the edge of the cooler and the ice, if there's just a block ice sitting there in the middle, is that better insulated than
it's great insulation, but all the heat's going through the cooler. It's all going through conduction. Like almost no heat is leaving through the air in the cooler, and then
it's not leaving, but it just sits there. But the question is, does it melt the ice as fast? Because the air right next to the ice will be cooler, but the water conducts, like if you have water next to it, we know if the air around it is 20 degrees and there's water around it.
So Aaron, like if I remember right, there's this thing we did in college, you might not have gone to class, where you put a box around everything and you figure out the heat coming and going.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. Well, the cooler is that box. The water inside is irrelevant.
No, it's not though, because if I just put a box outside, open it up, have it the same temperature everywhere, there's no heat flow, right?
You open the box up, there's heat flows coming in through the.
No, you open it up and it's the same temperatures outside. And I open it up,
there's
and
no heat flow.
everything the same temperature. Close it. It's all the same.
Got it.
And so it's about that heat flow, right?
Yeah.
It's that flow of heat. Like, because if I put if I had that block of ice inside with another insulative layer around it inside the cooler, we know it would melt more slowly, right? You with me? Right?
Are we in a cooler or aluminum box?
Are we in a cooler? If I put a cooler inside the cooler.
Are we in a cooler or aluminum box? I forget where we're at now.
Just a cooler.
Okay, cooler.
So if I put a cooler inside the cooler.
So the air is better insulation than the water.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little bit better, but there's not that much water. When you have water and ice in a cooler, there's not that much water.
No, but sometimes you can let it stay full of water in the cooler. Like you can have a lot of water. I've had a lot of water. I've had a lot of water in the cooler. But
this is a minor thing. This is sort of like when you're looking at bicycles moving. You're in bearing friction right now. Like it has almost no.
I don't know.
This is a minor thing. It has have an effect. It's an orders of magnitude below. It is.
I don't know, but I will say this: if I'm opening the cooler often, then I think it's better to have water in there, because every time you open it, all that air goes out and all new air goes in. But if it's half full of water plus the ice, when you open it, a lot less air gets exchanged, and most of it's the water is in there. So you're having to heat up less of it, just like your refrigerator. A full refrigerator takes less energy to keep warm than it.
You're a civil engineer, so I'm going to give you a break on this. I don't think you're getting the heat transfer stuff correct here.
I'm totally.
No. So I'm going to tell you the quick answers. We can move on. If you let the water out, you're letting out some of your cold thermal mass.
I understand.
So it can absorb less overall heat. So if your goal is like long-term cold, you want to keep the water in there because you have.
Zach, I understand that part, but you're missing some other key points. How often you open the fridge? How often you open the cooler?
Yeah, but if you open it more, that's even more like you're heating your thermal mass.
If you're opening it often and it's full, if it's
nobody's cooler is full of water, Aaron. Usually it's like this much.
I've run it like half full of water because one time I tried this.
But that's not realistic. Nobody's doing that.
Because on the Grand Canyon trips, like I basically freeze the bottom half of the cooler is just water. Cool. And I pour extra water in the walk-in cooler to give it an extra inch on top, so it's all frozen.
Good for you. And
then I won't open it for like a week, and so it's full of water in there. It's like full and stuff swimming around. It's kind of gross.
Okay.
But it's this weird trade. There's more variables. There's some variables you have to think about. And like I said, the opening and closing the coolers like is a big one, and that the air being fresh, like the refrigerator. The same problem with the refrigerator. Like an empty refrigerator is way less efficient than a full one if you're opening and closing during the day, because you've got to reheat all that air every time you open it.
Because the air is coming and going.
Yeah.
Sure. But either way, it's like the same thermal mass inside. Like you're having to, if you let your thermal mass out and the air changes,
I understand.
What's going to absorb that?
Don't get so excited about thermal mass.
Aaron, when the air changes from the cold air to the warmer air, something has to absorb that warmer air.
I know.
And so if you have water there and you're changing the water from 32 degrees, 33 degrees, that'll absorb a lot of thermal mass. But if you have no water in there, the ice has to absorb that and it starts melting it.
Well, no, the water absorbs it, and the water then sucks the water. Then the ice pulls some of that heat out of the water. So it's just delayed.
This is frustrating. I think that you're on a different page than me. I'm just going to say, like, if you want longevity and coolness, keep the water. If you want sanitation, get rid of the water. We'll leave it at that.
Well, but the other thing, too, is if you...
Here, Nick has the answer. Nick's are... Water has higher specific than water. Water, which one? It'll keep the ice cooler in the air. Yeah, so water conducts heat.
Yeah, I understand what you're talking about. There's some other variables involved that you guys are oversimplifying it.
Wait, water conducting heat slower than air just blows your whole thing out of the.
Water conducts heat slower than air?
Yeah. Boom. science. Why would we even talk about any of this stuff?
Because if that's, I'd be like, if that's true, then why, if it's 60 degrees outside, I'm fine. But if I hop in 60-degree water, I get cold right away. Why? If water conducts heat slower than air,
because of convection. Aaron, it's convection. Because water is like pulling it off of your body. It's not just conduction. If you're stable,
it's pulling more. So water pulls more heat off than air
because it's moving, but it's not moving inside.
It's not even moving. Just stationary. If you go to stationary water, you're like a water bath. If I'm trying to defrost something, I don't put it out in the air. I put it in water and just let it sit there with stationary water, and it's still defrosted.
Because the water's colder than the air temperature. If you're in air temperature water and air temperature air,
if the water's colder than the air temperature, then why is it defrosting my steak faster?
I don't know. Nick, help me out here. I don't know. Nick, you got us in this.
We got to get back to rafting. We got to do this after. This got to be the cast after the cast. Sorry, you guys. My apologies. Oh man, this is embarrassing. This is probably our worst show ever.
It's definitely our worst show ever. We've done a lot of the worst shows ever.
But this is a new low. This is a new low.
I think he's back on the pee in the sleeping bag though. I'm going like cold. Always have a bigger friend. I don't know. I'm confused by this one.
Yeah, totally. All right.
Do you guys use dry ice in the bottoms? I don't know.
No, like you heard what I said. Just like walking cooler, pouring water in around stuff, freezing it, pouring a little more, and freezing. You don't want to pour in a bunch at once, or it can cause problems. But you pour in a little bit, pouring a little bit, pouring a little bit.
I'll tell you the secret is freeze your ice colder than 32.
That helps.
Like a lot of people buy ice. It's like when they sell you ice at the grocery store, it's like 32 degrees. They're not selling you top quality ice. If you can get your ice to 10, if you can get really cold ice, it'll last a lot longer. So a lot of this depends on how cold your ice started.
There's a lot of things like I think keeping something over the top of your cooler. If you have something inside your cooler, so as you have less stuff in it, you've got an insulated layer that you put on top of your stuff inside your cooler.
All of your stuff is like practical yes. From experience guiding. I think when Nick and I are talking about science, and that's the
no, you're talking about theoretical science.
Nick, you have to understand he's a civil engineer.
No, so this is a problem with you theoretical people with your masters and your PhDs. You come tell us practical people how to do stuff, and you think about it theoretically, but you don't think about understanding all the variables.
Aaron, this whole show is about science right now. Like we're talking about science. We're not talking about theoretical.
You got to think about all the variables. So let's move on.
Okay. Hey, so I did one more thing here. I made a board. I can move this so you can see it. We got to have a drag a little bit. Oh, here you go. Burn, Aaron.
You're right. And they were smarter than we are. But no,
There's how we have a TV.
That didn't really happen. That all happened didn't that all happen in some big wasn't that just all big fib that they just made it up, pretended we landed on the moon?
No, it's real. I'm pretty sure it's real. Hey, let's talk about drag. Let's move on to swimming and drag.
Okay.
I put this equation on the board that we can talk about really quick before we go into the videos for the day. And so we talk a lot about drag in the show. Oh, great. Make me big is weird. And so the equation that Aaron and I learned in college. Did you learn this in college, Aaron, or are you a civil engineer? I can't remember.
I took my water classes.
This is not water. This is drag.
Drag for air?
Or for any fluid. So the force of drag is 1/2 the density of the fluid.
We only worried about water. Do you
worry about air?
Not for civil, because your water flow is really what we were concerned.
So you always had the density of water. But so the force is 1/2 the density of the fluid times the velocity squared times the coefficient of friction, which is just a made-up number, times the surface area, the area that it's showing. Yeah. So I simplified this. It's basically the force is
proportional
to density, velocity squared, and surface area. And so it's really
don't even worry about the density. Get rid of the density too.
The density matters because if you're swimming, I think this is what matters. The point you bring up, Aaron, is the more of your body that's above water, the drag here, the density of air is much lower.
And I guess I would just look at the equation as just about the part in the water. About the area in the water, and I'd only worry about the area in the water.
Yeah, because this density of air is so much lower than the density of water.
I would just not even. Yeah,
it's almost irrelevant. Kind of like your silly water in the cooler insulator thing is irrelevant. It's the same thing. So as I think about this, the density of air is so low compared to the density of water that the drag due to air of your body above the water is way less than the drag of your body below the water. And so what you really affect is how fast you go. The faster you go, the more drag there is, of course. Yeah. But It's your surface area. So your goal is to minimize your surface area under the water.
Yeah, but Zach, I'll also say that the constant that you're told out is also necessary, because that constant C would be like if you're wearing a bunch of like stuff on you, like all the stuff dangling off of you, you're wearing some sweatpants, your C is going to change a lot too, right?
Your coefficient of drag.
Yeah, your coefficient of
so
drag.
This is found, I think, empirically, but like, yeah, that's a good point. So this could be like stuff, or it could be
like those cool shorts you're wearing over your wetsuit.
It could be your dry suit.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about swimming, like this is like sort of the surface of the thing. So if it's a smooth like a BB, it probably won't have a high coefficient of drag.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's like an umbrella, it will have a high coefficient of drag. And so the drag.
The coefficient BB to umbrella, I'd more say like wearing like
a BB to a rock.
Like I would say a fleece jacket, or like one of those cool old Patagonia fleece jackets. It's all textured and grabs water, versus like a wetsuit top that's all smooth and fast. Because you're not talking about different size there. You're just talking about what's the surface like.
Yeah, what's the surface? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's the stuff you're wearing. So a couple things. So we were talking last time, somebody made the point of like, if you swim faster without any PFD, right? And that's because
no, but I thought about this. There's more to it than that. Give me a second, because I thought about this after we went up, and I was like, man, that's
for those of you that didn't watch the show last week, like explain the topic came up.
So we were talking about swimming in the water, and someone's like, well, I can swim way faster without my life jacket than with the life jacket on. And I started to think about, man, I forgot what I thought about at the time, but there's more to it than that. And I was like, well, that's kind of true, but there's also something that, So let's just say he can swim faster without a life jacket on than with one on, implying that less life jacket is better. But the problem is any life jacket you put on may make you slower. It's just, there's the drag issue with it. Because your coefficient of friction is changing. Basically, you put that life jacket on.
That's what I just said.
Okay.
So basically, like if you have no PFD, your coefficient of drag will be much smaller.
Yeah.
If you put a PFD on, it's going to raise your coefficient of drag. But it doesn't matter whether the PFD has 22 pounds or 18 pounds of flotation. They're all going to have the same coefficient.
It's minimal difference. Yeah.
Pretty much the same. Yeah. So like if you're going to wear if you want to swim the best, don't wear a PFD. You'll just sink.
Zach, here's the other thing I'm going to say about that though. When he made that comment about flotation not helping in that case, I would have used a different example. I would have compared, if you look at like marathoners, like certain marathons, they don't allow you to use a wetsuit because a wetsuit gives you an advantage because you float higher in the water. So it kind of reiterates what we're talking about there. So even with that whole discussion of like, well, I'm not wearing a life jacket, I'm faster. Yeah, but it's not the flotation, it's the drag. Because if you look at a wetsuit provides wetsuits provide flotation, you actually swim faster.
You're sitting up higher.
You're sitting up higher. Yeah.
So I think
sorry, that was what I was trying to remember.
But the moral of the story is whether you wear a 16-pound PFD or a 25 pound PFD, it barely changes the coefficient of drag.
Yeah.
Yes, you will swim better without a PFD, but once you put one on, they're all about the same. They don't affect this coefficient of drag that much, probably. Mm-hmm. But the important thing is that your goal is to minimize your area under the surface, and
the goal is to minimize your drag. So if I have a life jacket, if I have a choice one with a ton of pockets and a bunch of stuff hanging off it and a bunch of clips and stuff like that, that creates a lot more drag, not so good. Having other stuff on me, having that extra pair of shorts, having all those different things that are going to slow me down, they all add up significantly, particularly in the water. Because as we discussed, swimming through water, there's so much more drag than in the air. So all those little things add up way more in the water.
Yeah. The debate I had with the crew the other day about we're doing high water trips. Should we be wearing wetsuits or dry suits? We had a big talk about this. My opinion is you should wear a wetsuit or a dry suit, and you should understand the advantages and disadvantages of both. With the wetsuit, you're going to swim faster because it has a lower coefficient of drag. A dry suit's flappy. You'll swim faster because of the lower coefficient of drag, and it provides a little extra flotation that raises you up higher.
And I think you can move better in it, which is another thing that's outside these equations, is because when all the air gets sucked out, it's like a little vacuum on you. You're like, I can't kick very well.
But some of the guys said, but if I'm in the water for a long time doing a rescue, it's more responsible to have a dry suit.
Totally.
right? So if I have to stand in the water up to my waist for an hour for some reason, so it's a trade-off. Do you want to be able to swim better, or do you want to be able to stand in the water? And there's no answer. It depends on the river you're doing and what you
I think in general, either one's a good decision. The only time I would say is sometimes I feel like I see people in dry suits when it's too warm out. That's my bigger problem.
And I had a guy on the last trip and not wear his because it was too hot. And it's like, so then you're in shorts, or they were like, one tried to wrap it around their waist, that's not appropriate either. So
you're not ready to effect a rescue, no. And then on the other side,
if you swim, that's really bad.
Yeah. And then the other side, the wetsuit, and some days you see people getting cold just boating in their wetsuit because they don't have enough layers on top of it.
Yeah. So to go back to this, like, I think the point I want to make is the real factors here are like less body in the water. Like your frontal surface area is what affects things, right? And Todd has a good point in shape. Compared to a cube and a wing with identical mass to volume, the wing will have less drag. But it also has less frontal surface area. It's like that's the key. A wing has it like this, and so this is and the cube is like this. There's more frontal surface area.
But Todd's right. A lot, like if I'm like 6'6" and weigh 200 pounds versus I'm 5'8" and weigh 200 pounds, I'm going to swim through the water better if I'm 6'6" because I'm a longer boat and I'm not as much of a cube. So he's right about that.
But I want to make the important point. This A is the surface area that's presented to the fluid, right? This has a larger, like if this is a cube, right? Like this, there's more of this. It's this surface area right here that matters. None of this matters. It matters a tiny bit, but these surfaces, like if this is, so if I put the same amount of mass and the same amount of volume in a long, like cylinder, right? That's the front. Or I squish it, this is going to have a larger surface area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Because it's presenting a larger surface to the thing. Like if it's a big plate, right, and really thin, it's a large surface area. Whereas if it's like a long needle, the surface area here is really thin. So your goal is to minimize the frontal surface area to the fluid.
Let's be honest, too. This equation is designed for like you're looking at a pipe and the drag along the side of a pipe, not running directly into something.
No, this is the general equation for drag. This is the equation for drag.
But the drag is this the area this way, like on a pipe, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, if I put a block straight in the middle of it, that gets messier and that's more complicated than this equation. I don't think this equation is for that. This is the equation for drag. Like Google equation, like force due to drag. This is the equation. That what you're talking about might get caught up in the coefficient of friction a little bit. Like the shape might be in there a little bit. No, I think we're talking about like at least this is what I'm going to go back to civil engineering here. The civil engineering, we always just we're looking at pipes and we're looking at stream beds where water's flowing past it. You would talk every once in a while like a bridge piling, but there's a different set of equations for like a bridge piling where it's sitting there and the water's coming up and hammering at it. And you got to look at it a little different than when it's just flowing along the side. Right?
Say that again. That didn't make sense to me.
Okay. If I'm like water's flowing across here, I'm looking at the friction slowing down the water that's flowing.
But that's not drag. That's not part of drag.
That's drag.
The sides, but that's drag. That gets not really.
That is drag.
This is the frontal surface area. What really matters for drag, Aaron, civil engineer, is this surface area. There is some effect of like the surface flowing by the top, but it's minimal. That's kind of the coefficient of friction.
Zach, it's not on the sides. So Zach, then it doesn't matter if you wear a life jacket then because that's not on the top. The life jacket.
Exactly. That's my point. If it doesn't, it's all about the frontal surface area. Like this area is about the frontal surface area to the fluid. So like if you wear a 22-pound PFD, it's going to make your frontal surface area a little bit bigger. If it makes you longer, that has a minimal effect. Are you Googling things now, Aaron?
I'm pulling up NASA's thing. Yeah, I'm looking at it here.
This is where the science comes in. I shouldn't have brought you on for the science show because I forgot you were in civil engineering.
Reference. They call it the reference area.
Yeah. It's essentially the frontal surface area. And it's not the whole surface area of the whole thing. It's what's the area presenting itself to the fluid.
Yes, the area presented. So the fluid is the
fluid's the water going this way.
If I'm swimming, most of my surface area is all here. There's very little here and here. This is the majority of it.
Yeah, exactly.
This is where the majority of the drag is.
Yeah. But the side of the cube doesn't. So what I'm saying is, Aaron,
this is the side of the cube. This isn't the top. The water hits me on the head.
The side.
I am the sides of the pipe.
Aaron, when you're in the water, it's this area here that's presenting itself.
This is such. I can't believe anyone's still tuned in. You guys, thanks for putting up with this.
It's the cross-sectional area of your body. That's what it is. When looking at the fluid.
Are you looking? So if I'm if I'm swimming towards you, are you talking about looking at the top of my head, or are you talking looking on the sides of my body?
It's the area of your body presented to the moving fluid.
Yeah, but all the sides are presented to it. That's why when you swim, you shave down, because you gotta reduce the drag as the water flows past you. That's drag.
It's no. It's not what's past you. It's what hits the front of your body.
No, it's the sides.
It's not the sides.
That's what drag is. When I drag something on the ground, it's where the tube interface.
No. This is the thing, Aaron. You use that is not science. This is the problem I get when I argue with people.
No, that is science.
Is they start saying things like that. I drag it.
What is drag? That is drag.
Aaron, you didn't learn this in college, or if you did, you forgot
it. Coefficient of friction. Coefficient of friction. What is it? It's the friction between two surfaces when they're pulling against each other. That's the coefficient of friction.
Yeah. So
Nick, help me out here. Normal force.
No, that's Aaron. That's actually friction. That's a different thing. So with drag, Aaron, what you're talking about is caught up in the coefficient of friction potentially, but it's all about the frontal surface area. It's all about the area of your body.
Okay, here's a question for you. Those are two separate sets of drag. Then you got the top, and then you got the stuff on the sides, and those are two totally different things. And you need two different equations for that.
And what I'm saying is the frontal surface area is like magnitudes of order more than what's happening on the sides. It's all about
but the frontal surface area we can't change much.
Aaron, this is why they make spaceships long and narrow. This is why Teslas have a slow present very little frontal surface area.
Can we stretch your head out and turn it into a cone? We can't. So we can't change that much. What we can do is reduce the friction along your body.
Aaron, hold on. We're not swimming like you did in water polo. We're swimming in a river where our body is kind of down in the water a bit.
No, that is exactly how we swim in water polo.
Okay, but your goal is to minimize the surface area presenting itself. And so my point, Aaron, so I can move on, is that like our goal is to present the lowest amount of our body to the water. And by getting us up out of the water, that helps with swimming.
But if you pull your head up, your feet drop. First of all, the higher you get your head out, the more your feet drop.
I hear it, Aaron. Through flotation, through PFD flotation. So the point I'm trying to make is with PFD flotation, your whole body is going to be out of the water.
I would think
minimizing your frontal surface area and helping with drag.
So and the side surface area, because more of your body's out of the water.
The side surface area is nonsense. God. I apologize already for Aaron's lack of knowledge of science. So I'd rather float and swim slow than swim fast and drown.
Me too, Nick.
But yeah, Nick, I'd rather be alive or die. Like, I get that. My point is, by having more flotation, you can float and swim faster. Like, the point here is that like flotation helps you swim faster. Right? Am I wrong here? Doesn't matter how fast you can swim if you can't breathe. I think again, like, it's not swim fast or have flotation. The point is, flotation helps you swim faster. Comp suit in 2008. That's why the comp suit in 2008, they added some float. Drag equal more flotation will be equal. This kind of makes sense. I'm not sure if I understand this. Yeah. Here you go, Aaron. Boom. David Gilbert gets it. David, you sound like a very smart person. There's a comment that agrees with you here with me.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, the frontal surface area and overall shape have a bigger impact than the amount of wetted surface. And I would say much larger impact.
How do I say this? I just think.
How do you say this? You say this like, Zach, I'm wrong and I apologize.
No, because I'll say it's like, why do swimmers shave down then? It makes that big of a difference when you shave.
It doesn't make that much of a difference.
It does.
Because swimmers are going from micro, like half a second. It makes a small difference.
It makes a significant difference, Zach.
They only need to, Aaron, because it affects the coefficient of drag. The biggest thing is the frontal surface area. The biggest thing is being streamlined in the water. It's just like a small thing. All right, here we go. I don't know what this means.
You can't change that much, though.
You can't change your frontal surface area?
Not that much.
Aaron, I think you're just like not even paying attention to me today. You're clueless. What I'm saying is you can change that by having a higher flow PFD that gets you out of the water more. The more your body's out of the water, the less of a frontal surface area is being presented.
Well, I think just less of your body's in the water in total. And that's the key.
No, it's about the frontal surface area.
No.
You're on dump truck in the water. Come on, Nick. Boom. Yep, there you go, Aaron. Read that and just soak in that for a minute.
The drag force comes from motion parallel. Wait, did Nick say something before that? Nick, I don't know.
This goes back to your whole thing about drag. This comes back to your whole thing about dragging something and thinking it's the same as drag, which it's not.
Coefficient of friction is the friction between two materials. That's the coefficient of friction. Coefficient of friction is the friction between two materials.
But not a solid and a liquid, between two solids.
Even a solid and a liquid, still there's a coefficient of friction there too.
Minor. It's minor.
It's minor?
Yeah.
Why do you man.
Aaron, dude,
if that was the case, swimmers would just put things on their shoulders and not the rest of their body, but they wear full body suits for a reason. And the full
it doesn't
body
hurt.
Are way faster.
It's minor, but they're like
way faster.
You want a minor, like you want a little bit, every little bit helps. I was a dropout. Yeah, see, I was a dropout. See, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Zach was a dropout?
I dropped out of college and grad school, both. Drag encompass. No, it doesn't. I disagree. Don't take Aaron's side, please.
Yeah, see, drag does encompass. They're right.
Go to Wikipedia for drag and click types, and this will clear this up. All right. Wikipedia. Can you pull this up?
Aaron's right.
You're not right.
Yes.
Drag.
I think he's actually agreeing with you on that statement.
Which one?
Brett. I think Brett's actually kind of focused on your part, but yeah, I think there's a lot of confusion in this. We're not doing a good job.
That's why we're talking that, Aaron, these are the debates we need to have so people can understand it. Hey, Nick, how do I find this Wikipedia for drag? Here we go. Drag physics. Got it. Let me share the screen. Window, Chrome. Hold on, give me a second, everyone. All right, here we go. Can you see this? Type of friction. Drag force is proportional to velocity for low speed flow and the squared velocity for high speed flow. Yeah. Drag is complicated. We're gonna get into like form drag. So here we go. Skin friction. So there's drag, and what you're talking about, Aaron, is skin friction.
Skin friction. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about drag right now. You're talking about skin friction.
Oh, please. Okay. All right. Whatever.
But you can see here.
That's in Wikipedia, so it is drag.
No, it's skin friction. So I think here's the thing. Like this little thing says it well. If it's a long, narrow thing, it's mostly skin friction. Right? If it's an airplane wing, it's mostly skin friction. But if it's a normal body, a normal type of thing, like
if it's a round circle, which none of us are circles, we are built more like.
We're not like an airplane wing.
Oh, totally. We're built more like
That's nonsense.
Are we built more like a rocket or built more like a ball? Zach, you might be built more like a ball. I might be built more like a rocket.
You're not. No, your body is in the water. Your body is physically in the water. This is mostly drag.
No, I disagree. If we're going to call it skin, whatever they call that, I think it's mostly
skin friction.
I think skin. Well, I think both do, but the skin friction is reduced. The more of your body's out of the water, the less skin friction you have along your back and along your sides.
Okay, so I first want to say I'm pretty much right here.
So I think we're actually, Zach. I think we both have good points on this, neither of us are actually wrong on this one.
Yeah,
because I got the skin friction going on. We want to call it skin friction. That's fine. I was used to, like, where I came from, we talked about drag because
you drag things along the surface of the ground. That's why you call it drag.
Because in a pipe, you don't you don't have like what you're talking about, like an object in the middle and general stopping stuff. You're looking at the friction along the surface of the pipe.
All right, whatever.
I know it's a long time ago.
Here's the point I want to make for the last time.
Do we need to pull up Bernoulli's?
No, we're not pulling up Bernoulli's. I want to make the really important point. The more our bodies are out of the water, due to flotation of a PFD, for example, and possibly a wetsuit flotation, the lower the drag on our bodies will be, we'll be able to swim faster.
And the same, Zach. I think that's
an important detail. Because
it's all, I agree. I think it's also important to talk about all the junk you have on you, and wearing stuff that's smooth makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
If you're tall, if you're built like, if you're built like an apple, it doesn't matter very much. If you're built like a carrot, it matters more, right?
Because it falls off and presents more surface area.
Falls off? No, it's just the water going by it catches.
Yeah.
More.
So this is where, like, so if you wanted to like be safe, I'm going to make a claim here based on some science that we sort of know. If you want to be safer in the water, especially big volume water, you want flotation in your PFD for 2 reasons. 1, so you float higher so you can breathe, and 2, so you can swim faster. Mm-hmm. You don't want knives and all kinds of like carabiners and pulleys and all kinds of stuff hang off of you. That's probably a good thing. And you want to be in a streamlined outfit for swimming. So like a wetsuit's gonna be better for swimming. A dry suit's gonna be better for keeping you warm. And so but a dry suit will slow you down while you're swimming. So
somewhat, but if you're smart about it and you minimize yourself, you can still swim pretty fast in a dry suit.
Yeah, but you're gonna be faster in a streamlined
But then the wetsuit, I think it depends what you're wearing on top. Because if I'm wearing like a sun hoodie on top, and trying to swim with it, not nearly as good as if I'm like what are those things called, like the Hydra skin type of tops, like the water wetsuit tops, or just whatever, sun's out, guns out, or wearing a dry top. Any of those are better, right, for swimming in.
Yep. Cool. Gianni wants to move on. Float helps unless it's so bulky it hinders swimming ability. Yeah, that's a good point. Aaron's right. No, I disagree. 2 shoes are the same for a square and a pyramid. The pyramid would have less drag.
Yep.
Not really.
The pyramid would have less drag.
No, it's it's frontal surface area.
He's talking about frontal area. So I think he was actually agreeing with you, but he's right. And he's right that
pyramid. They would actually have a pretty similar drag.
Then why are rockets not
because of volume?
No, rockets aren't flat on top. They go like this to reduce.
You need to put a certain amount of volume in them.
No, that's
it helps a little bit. Well, and this is also, Aaron, this is once we get to supersonic, it's a little different. Like when we get to high velocities.
That's a good point. That's
right.
But water, but flowing through water is like supersonic in a way. Because there's so much more friction.
No, it's not even close to supersonic. What are you talking about?
It's much more similar than going through
Aaron,
air.
You're thinking of something else. But like if you had a cube, let's say, right?
Yeah.
That cube versus a pyramid like this, right? The pyramid's going to have less volume, right? So you actually have to make the pyramid bigger to carry the same volume.
No, but I think they're talking about a pyramid and you go straight back behind it to have the same volume. You don't have to keep making the pyramid bigger.
You have to if you wanted the same volume as the cube.
No, but you can have the pyramid. He means the pyramid like with something behind it. He just means at the top.
Oh, you mean like this? Put the volume like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to say they're real close. This is like, it feels like it's piercing through water because it's a pyramid, but it's not as big of a fact as you would think.
How do they make boats? They don't make boats with square fronts, Zach, for a reason. No one's done that for eternity. Come on.
Aaron, if you look at a raft and where it hits the water, the frontal surface area is a square thing. If you look at
and rafts are really slow. You look at a dory, they're not.
It's still presenting a rectangle. The dory is presenting a rectangle to the water.
No.
Yeah, it is. It is. If you look at the frontal surface area of what's underwater, it's basically a rectangle.
It goes like this. It goes to a point, Zach.
Yeah. This is Aaron does this.
Yeah,
too.
Exactly. Yeah. Actually,
okay. It's meant to be a pyramid. Hold on. How's that? It's a pyramid.
David, you're right. This is pathetic. Should we maybe we can get out some wind footage. Maybe we should get out some wind footage
Yeah, I think everybody's over this. Let's get into one more argument. We're really bugging everybody today.
This is sorry, you guys. This is a terrible show today.
I think.
Can we tell this worst show ever? Our worst.
The title of the show is Science. What do people expect?
Okay.
The title is Science.
Fair. Okay.
Right. Like if you showed up for this and you want to see rafting videos, that's probably a bad move. So one thing I just want to conclude the science section to say, like, I think when we're talking about like a lot of things in rafting, that we should not just argue like what feels right or what seems right, but like let the scientists have the discussion. Yeah, you good. Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Oh wait, I think he's saying that the entertainment. Oh man, oops, that's a burn on me. Oh yeah, no, that would be good.
No, you have to remember he used to be a science teacher.
All right.
So
we actually gonna do
we probably should have warned you. And I used to teach math way back when. So yeah, you guys were you're lucky we didn't pull out more equations today. That was some good science. So you have some other science you want to discuss?
That's it. Do you have anything you want to discuss?
No.
Okay. Let's do video so we don't lose all of our audience. All right, so this is something a viewer sent us to review. I haven't watched it yet. Love the danger nets.
You like those, huh?
Yeah, those are some nice danger nets. Oh, sweet. We'll come back. Wait, let's pause this. So we have a GoPro on right now. I'm going to pause this and answer this question. So yeah, with the GoPro, if you have the GoPro 10, I go to the super wide. It's called ultra wide or something. It's an awesome view. Looks like ultra wide, and I try to record in like a pretty high amount. And there's an action setting too, so it's not that hard. It's not that complicated. Just do like action ultra wide, in the highest setting based on your card, the card you have. Some good shipping right there. Look at that.
Do you think the other boat was staying there on purpose to help people go through?
No, I think they were stuck. It's doing a great job shipping. Although this is a place where I throw my oars forward more sometimes. That's good shipping right there, because it's really hard to ship the whole time.
Does he have a cargo net behind him too? Does he have a double cargo net?
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of that metal box up there too. Like if you get thrown forward, you land in the metal box. But whatever.
Do you ever make a little?
This looks pretty standard so far. I thought we were gonna get some carnage here. Yeah, that was nice. I mean, the thing about it probably didn't look clean to everybody, but for the fish ladder, that's how it's done. It's messy. Maybe not that oar left or at the bottom. But yeah, sweet.
Do you ever make a little leash for your oar handle so you can slide over the handle of your oars if you don't have a good place to ship it?
A leash for your oar handles? Oh, you mean like a little like piece of rope you put the oar handle in?
Yeah,
I do for camp sometimes.
Yeah, I
haven't
like
done
that
it recently.
And sometimes even situations like that, where you have a cord and it won't hold. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never done it in the river, but in camp, I'll put the handle through the little loop, and it will just keep the oar up out of the water.
Yeah. And also because particularly like wood oars, you don't want them sitting in the water and getting waterlogged. So
yeah, I mean any oars, even composite oars, you don't want them sitting in the water. Like unless the Sawyer downlight blades have wood cores, so.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, we still don't want going in there.
Oh, there you go. You want to turn down the volume on that? It's pretty loud.
Oh, can you hear it?
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure what to add about that. I'll tell you one other thing while we're watching this, I'm noticing. Can you see my cursor?
Yeah.
So like right here, you generally want to put the straps over your coolers to the insides of the ones that are under your coolers, right? Like this one over here, if you flipped, this top strap can make its way loose and come out the side, and then the cooler could come out.
So what are you saying to do instead?
So see how this cooler strap is inside, the top one's inside the bottom one? I would have moved this cooler strap here to the inside as well, because it makes it harder for those top straps. If the boat flips, those top straps, things could like work their way off the ends and the cooler could come out. Whereas if both of the top straps are inside of the bottom straps, it'll stay inside the cooler. It'll stay there better if the boat flips.
Huh. Okay.
That makes sense?
Does it matter that much?
I mean, it's a tiny detail. Like, why not do it?
I mean, yeah. I have you seen that happen? Or is this your mom's ham?
I've never seen it happen because I've always put my straps on the inside.
Yeah, I don't think it matters.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's the end of that one.
I mean, that's what I asked. I mean, I can see what you're saying, but I'm like, does it really matter? I don't know.
Yeah, it matters.
But that's why I asked. I was like, have you seen that happen? I mean, doesn't that mean that the bottom ones can slip off more easily then if you have them on the outside?
No, because the top one's the most likely to kind of come off the ends. It's a little detail thing, Aaron. I gotta find this. Here we go. I think this is the one I want to watch. All right. So this is the NOLA truckie. Have you done the NOLA truckie before, Aaron?
No, where is it?
It's somewhere in the south. I think it's in like Tennessee or Georgia or something. I had a friend of mine used to work there and talk about it all the time. Like, it was the greatest.
It looks fun.
Yeah, the greatest trip. I think it's potentially an overnight.
Sounds like it's a great name too.
NOLA truckie?
Yeah.
So this is some video one of our viewers sent in. Looks like, okay, so that's that. I don't know. I'm not sure what we're watching here. Share screen, window. So this is, I guess, a different view of the same thing. I think somebody swims here. I think that's what we're getting to.
Right, we got our first contestant in Rooster
There's some audio, but I can't play it. So I think we're watching the boat we just had a GoPro of. Oh no, there's the blue boat that we just watched. This is another view of the same thing.
There we go. Make it bigger. That looks really fun.
Oh, they swam.
Oh no. Okay, yep, they're out.
See how there's so much of a surface area showing? It's probably hard to swim.
Do you think his legs are pretty deep?
I thought they were there for a while, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, his legs are straight down right now, it looks like.
It's hard keeping your legs up when you're doing feet downstream on your back. It can be really hard.
I don't think he's even trying to do feet. I think he's standing up, actually.
Yeah, he's standing up facing upstream, so you're not that worried, but not the best.
So this is where I don't know what PFD has, but his head's barely out of the water.
And then he's holding there you go. Oh, no. And he's holding the paddle in the middle of the shaft, which is way harder to swim than if you hold it by the paddle tee.
So let's see if this.
There he goes.
I would have sent the raft after him before the throw bag.
No, he's doing it.
Oh, the throw bag from the raft. Let's see how this goes.
I feel like in the East Coast, they're much more into using throw bags than we are out West.
Oh.
No.
All right. There's a third angle at this. Sorry, there's a lot of video of this. Let's see if we get. Okay.
Here he comes. You need to straighten that bad boy up.
This is the person on shore.
Ready, right? He's good. He'll be. All right.
Hey, is this the boat that lost the person?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh!
Awesome. Yes.
That was awesome. Downstream flip into the eddy. Yeah.
So is this the boat that maybe had the swimmer and now he's by himself? And there comes the rope.
I think they're both
the tangled up rope.
But it's helpful still, like, getting them in. It's gonna. Yeah, that's good.
Let's just pause this for a second though. I mean, are you okay with this, Aaron?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, shouldn't the boater jump back on the boat?
Oh no, maybe that wasn't. I mean, they are R2ing, but maybe that wasn't the guy. Maybe that was just a random person. They don't know what they're doing.
It's a good throw. I mean, let's watch the throw again.
I mean, what are you worried about? It works.
I feel like this is what I see a lot. Hold on. I feel like, hold on, right here. The boat flips, gets out from underneath the boat. I just feel like this is time for aggressive self-rescue. And this,
I mean, in general, I would want that too. But then also, they're in the eddy right now. You can reach them with a bag, you can pull them to shore, and then everything's stable. Versus if the person tries to flip the boat back over, they could go downstream by themselves, R1 in the boat. It seems like it's a nice big eddy. I'm not really worried about the if they throw the throw bag, but the throw bag getting wrapped around something or causing a problem. It's a pretty good spot. Like it's probably like one of the most optimal spots I've ever seen for a throw bag. So, what are you worried about, Zach?
Because I think what happens is people just hang out and wait for a rescue. Like there's no attempt to do any kind of self-rescue here. It's just like holding on, waiting for a rescue. And I think I see a lot of times that's what's happening. It's like, I'm just going to hold on to the boat and wait to get rescued. Whereas I
agree with that part. Yeah.
Like some attempt towards rescue is important. Right.
Let's say, you don't have a problem with the guy throwing in the throw bag. It's more the person there on the boat not doing anything to make the situation better.
I'm seeing that a lot now. Like people that are boating, they flip or they swim and they just like hold on to the side of the boat and wait for something. And that's what kind of has happened. Like that, there should have been an attempt to get on the boat. Right.
That's a good scenario for your course. Just have someone flip the boat and just hold on and be like, everyone just hold them back. Help us.
Yeah. I mean,
that's why it sucks. It's like terrible.
Yeah. And in the first one, that boat that went to go get the swimmer, instead of throwing the bag to the swimmer, should have just kept going to the swimmer. Right. Like I don't like that they threw the bag. They're in a boat.
And I agree. In general, I struggle with the throw bag from the raft. I think there's a time and a place for everything. And we always talk about the nevers and the always, but best practices once you're in that raft and you can go get them, just go paddle and
get them. The rope could start getting tangled and all kinds of stuff. We just did this high water metaphor trip, and I remember thinking, man, if a swimmer gets away from me, they're gonna go. And I remember thinking, like, I could maybe, as a last case thing, throw a throw bag from a boat in that case. But in that case where there's like, that was pretty chill. Like, just instead of getting the boat close and deploying the throw bag, just go get the person with the boat.
Yeah. I would still even say when you're talking about the middle fork, I'd still want to go get one with the boat, even if they're getting past me.
I'd want to get them, but it was big. And so but
what are you going to do once you got them on the bag? Then what are you doing?
Oh, I agree 100%.
You're not guiding your raft. You're putting your whole boat in jeopardy.
I agree 100%. I'm just saying, like, we were running super tight. We're looking out for each other. We had no swimmers the whole trip. But I'm like, what happens if the river's big? If somebody starts getting away, the only option at some point could possibly be a throwback. I've never in my career thrown a throwback from a raft. But it's the first time when I was like, I could see maybe, if in weird situations, this is how because if you let somebody just go at high water, they're not going to make it.
No, but somebody falls out. But also, Zach, they can't just go. They have to swim towards shore. And if they swim towards shore, they'll catch the slower water and give you time to catch up.
Hopefully.
I mean, at some point, if you're floating, you get sucked down, you end up on an eddy fence. It happens. Like you'll be able to get. Like I've chased people down before. Like there's, you don't just. It's really, really rare where someone stays in the middle of the current for a long way. It's usually they end up being pushed one way or the other, caught along the eddy fence, go into a hole, go down, plop around. All of a sudden, you go past them, and then you're trying to catch them, and then they go past you. Like in general, I feel like hopefully they're going to hit something that's going to slow them down.
But if they don't, I mean, the middle fork last week was just a flush in certain spots. It's just, there's no little eddies. It was just flushing by stuff. I feel like if somebody got ahead of me, they could just be gone. And there's no swimming to shore. It's just like too big.
Right? Yeah, they don't have to get all the way to shore. Even they just swim to the slower water or swim back towards you. Just slow themselves out of that sun. You can, I mean, in that type of, I feel like if there's big waves, you're going to get slowed down. But if you turn and pull, you should be able to get them.
You should be able to, yeah. So, but back in my head, I was like, what if I can't for some reason? What am I going to do? I thought maybe I might throw a throwback in this situation, but I'm pretty much against throwing throwbacks from a raft. I'm like 99.999% don't throw a throwback from a raft because what happens afterwards gets super messy. But if that guy who just fell out of the orange boat swam, he made no progress. He made no attempt for self-rescue.
Yeah.
And so what if somebody is not making any progress towards self-rescue? And like in our safety talk, we were very clear, like you need to be making progress towards something, like towards a rock in the river, towards the shore, or a raft. You can't just sit there cluelessly.
Yeah.
You have to make progress towards something. But let's say they just freaked out and didn't. Then it's scary.
It is. I mean, but
I need the POV. Yeah, I'd like to see what happened with the throw, how that ended, and if it was they really needed to throw that bag. So I think carry on. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, totally.
But I mean,
Zach. I think when I understand what you're talking about,
person in the boat jumps on the boat, flips it back over, gets back in.
Yeah, I think you have a good point. Like in general, that's what you want the mentality to be: is self-rescue, take care of yourself, clean up your mess, get it going. And like when they just sit there and hang on like that, like just the passivity of it is not what you want to see. Particularly like if you're wanting to run harder whitewater, you got to have that mentality. Like, hey, I got to make the situation better, not just wait for someone else to rescue you. So, yeah, I now that I understand what you're saying, yeah, it makes sense to me. I didn't mind the throw bag being used there by any means, particularly with that person being passive.
Yeah,
but I would have rather seen.
The person in the water who's not wearing a guest PFD, he's wearing like some kind of astral something. He's showing the signs of I'm a boater, should be making progress towards in the boat. I would say like I think about this a lot.
Yeah, go ahead.
Everybody wants to like run class 4, run class 5. And so I think in class 3 water, which a NOLA truckie looks like fine, what they did worked. It's gonna work. But if their goal is to improve and do class 4 water, that needs to be a self-rescue. If they're just going to do the NOLA truckie forever and be in class 2 and 3, that's adequate. But if there's any goal to go do harder stuff, you need to, because if that rapid is like back-to-back rapids, that throwback trick's not going to work. Like so, it needs to be self-rescue.
So here's the question: how would you feel if that guy can't get on the boat upside down the way it is? Mm-hmm. Would you have liked to have seen some sort of flip line on the bottom to help him get on top of it?
Potentially, yeah. Yeah, there needs to be a plan. Like you need to, exactly. I mean, as a boater, when a boat flips, your instinct is to get back on that upside down boat and flip it back over.
You should have a plan to self-rescue when like a paddle boat in particular flips or an R2 boat flips. You should be able to be like, hey, this is plan A should be self-rescue. Like whitewater kayaking. Your plan is you flip over, you roll yourself back up and away you go. Mm-hmm. After that, then it's like plan B is like, I pop my skirt and then hopefully I grab my stuff and get to shore myself. Then plan C is hopefully someone else can help me out with some of it. But I think rafting same, but your plan A should be like, we should be able to be self-reliant. That's our first priority.
Yeah.
To try to do that.
So I just there was zero attempt to get on that boat. I was just holding on and waiting. Where even if he can't get back on, at least attempt to get back on. At least like show that you're trying to something.
No, because Zach, some people just can't get back on at all, and it's embarrassing watching. They know it's embarrassing, and they know they can't do anything, and they're like, "I'm not going to embarrass myself here." Like I don't think that's really fair.
So you think it's okay for some people just to hold on and wait to get rescued?
My point is like work on a setup so you can climb back up on. Have a flip line on the bottom. Have something so you can do it.
Or like he could have taken the flip line of his PFD, clipped it to a D-ring, gone on the other side, and flipped the boat back over with that.
Yeah, at that
from the water. That was a little 10-foot boat.
I mean, it's an interesting idea. And that person was pretty big. They might have been able to do that.
Yeah. At least get the boat back over. Boat into Eddie right away. I kind of felt like he just didn't do anything. I deleted.
Maybe he was trying to swim in. That's interesting, Sean. You had that perspective. I kind of looked at Zach's. It looked like he was just kind of.
It looked like he just. I mean,
I thought he started swim. I thought he started to swim himself towards the Yeti a little bit, maybe. But
if he at least tried to swim the boat in the Yeti, I give him some props. But it really felt like he just held on, and that's one of my things like about ropes around the boat. Everybody feels like you have to have a perimeter line, and I feel like the perimeter line encourages people to hold on and do nothing instead of getting back in the boat.
Dude, but the perimeter line also makes it easier to get back in the boat.
Dude, Jor Daddy Snorkeler, that's what I'm talking about. This is where the card rating system comes in. I mean, a 2 or a 3, yeah. I mean, I think that's my Aaron. I'm excited about this. I would say a 5. If you're a 4 or 5, this is what you do.
Snorkel guy, I can't believe.
Thank you, snorkel guy. Us. Thank you, Aaron. But you see what he's saying, right? Like, are you an asset or a liability? And a liability is just going to hold on and wait to get rescued. Where like if somebody wants to be like a 7, 8, or a 9, or even like a face card, that implies self-rescue. You with me on this, Aaron?
Yeah, I understand.
I know it pains you to say this sounds really smart. I know you're inside. You're thinking, man, Zach is a genius. On the outside, you're saying, I can't let Zach know because his whole card thing is ridiculous.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to be quiet here for a moment. Just...
You know I'm right. All right. I only have one more video to show, and then we can close this up. 2 people get back in the top of the flip boat, and both have flip lines. I recommend each person. It's a good question. It depends on the boat. If it's that boat, I don't recommend 2 people getting back on the boat. One can just get up there and flip it. The second person getting back on slows things down. If it's like I'm a big guy, so I can flip a 14 by myself pretty easy. So if it's a 14 and it's me, I'd rather get on. If it's a couple of Aarons, I'd probably have 2 Aarons get on top.
Well, I can flip a 14 by myself.
Okay, let's say it's 16 then, an empty 16. I don't know. There's some size, right? Where like you have to look at who's flipping in the size of the boat. Like if one
and
person
how much gear is in the boat, you kind of know. You're like, eh.
If one person can do it, I would have one person do it, and just only have one person on the boat. Just one person get up there, do it, get it done.
Yep.
Then both.
If you can do it with one, just get it done. Totally agree.
The second person on top can sometimes be a liability. It's like, especially Heidi's saying, or a paddle boat, those oars when you flip it over can smack somebody in the head.
Yeah, but then like if you climb up on the one side and the person's on the side you're flipping towards, sometimes it's easier just to pull them up and be like, help me flip it, step back, and then they're not underneath. So you're not flipping it straight on top of them. Or I guess you could just be a punk and flip on top of it. Hey, we're gonna put this on top of you. Watch out.
Yeah. But I'd rather just not even have them on there because as you're flipping it, they might slip off and like spin the boat. Do you know how the second person who's not used to flipping boats, that if they slip too early and it makes the boat have some angle or something? Yeah. Mid tumultuous rapid. If I have 2 people on a boat mid to tumultuous rapid, I probably wouldn't flip it because I worry about that second person. I'd just ride it out maybe.
Depends what's below the tumultuous rapid, how much worse it gets. Like, how do I feel about being upside down that next spot down there? Yeah.
If I can look at a rapid and be like, if I'm on an upside down boat, I'm like, I can flip this and get back in before I get hurt. I will flip it. But if I'm like, oh, that's sketchy.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about this next John Woods.
With bow line and stern line rope bag. Stern line bag came off the other day. Don't need to replace it. Don't need to replace stern. How'd it come off? That's what I want to know.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think, John, what's interesting is neither Zach are a big fan of the bow and stern line rope bags, just personally. And
I mean,
we've never really used them.
Yeah. Wait, I don't disagree with them.
Well, I think they're
just
messy.
a pain.
It doesn't make sense to me. Like to grab the boat quickly, to secure it to shore, to just hold on to something. And then how do you put it in there? It just seems messy, but that's
it's safer though. Aaron, you coil your ropes in your bows and your sterns the same way everybody else does. So it's a potential, like when you have your coils, it's a potential entrapment. So the bag is like slightly safer.
It is in that way, but if I'm trying to pull over to an eddy quickly and get someone to get out and secure the boat because I have to get into a small eddy,
harder in that case.
Yeah. So I think that there's a trade-off there for sure.
And I think those of us that are like tying up boats 2 to 3 times a day or more, like I'm stopping for lunch, I'm stopping for a hike, I'm stopping to get firewood, I'm stopping to camp, packing that bag every time, it's just time. And we have to get places sometimes where they're like tying up with a rope storage knot is convenient. So I mean, my thing, it kind of depends, John, but I'm going to say I like having both a bow and a stern line on all boats, whether it's a gear boat or a paddle boat. I like having them both.
Well, yeah, how big is this boat, John? I mean, I like having stern and bow lines. I like having this bow and a stern line as well.
Gear boat, paddle boat.
And I would say the other thing I may do too is depending on the boat and how I use it, I might have one of the lines be shorter because I'm like, when I pull into camp and I need to go a long ways, I want that nice long line for those overnight trips. But like if I'm doing overnight trips, I want a longer line. If I'm doing day trips, I like having the line on the front and the back. I think it's nice. I am curious how you have them attached, because you said it was attached with the bag, was attached with the carabiner, which is interesting. I'm really trying to visualize how.
Well, then he just pull. It's like just the end of the ropes in the carabiner. He can just pull it off when he wants to. But
he said he lost the whole thing because it was attached with the carabiner.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Flipped and rapid, it was attached with the carabiner.
But I think having one on the stern is important. Like there was a camp I caught the other day, or something I caught where I couldn't get my bow in, and so I had to come in. I had to come in stern. I want to be bow first in camp or lunch, but sometimes because of the way the Eddy's set up, I am stern first, and so sometimes I do tie up for the stern, or like if it's just for lunch, and I'm like it's high water, and I'll just come into my stern, tie the stern up, and so I like having a stern line a lot. Or if I'm lining, like if we're lining in rapid.
Well, I don't use my bow or stern line for lining. I like a longer. I like to use one of the NRS throw bags with the nice lines that are high quality.
It's not the NRS throw bag that's nice. It's the rope that's nice.
The rope, I know. The rope you like on that one though. I like
that's the Sterling Ultra line, I think.
But I'm going to say this: the other really nice thing about having a bow and a stern line is if you have to effect a rescue, you're inundating, something happens. Whatever way your boat is pointed, you can get off the boat where it is, untie that line and tie it where you need to, and go take care of what you need to. Some places it's really awkward. You're like, I got to try to turn the boat around. I'm not in a good spot. So yeah, I guess the more we talk about it, the more I realize, like, yeah, I'm a big fan of bow and stern lines.
And long ones, like I like 50 feet. I like them long.
I'm gonna say I think it depends on the river we're working.
And depends if it's day trip or multi-day. Like if it's just a day paddle boat, I might have like a 25 footer on there.
Like on our creek trips, we had shorter ones, and I like them being shorter because there was less line to get tangled on people, and it was long enough for everywhere we needed to tie off. It worked fine. So, but then other places, like places with big beaches, and you're trying to go up to shore, then it's really nice to have a long one. Yeah,
John, this doesn't make sense to me because
that's weird, huh? Right? I'm
like, how did the carabiner come? I mean, if it's attached to the carabiner, did the carabiner break? Like it shouldn't.
I'm curious to see a photo of how this thing's set up sometime, John.
It's a 14 Moravia. What's this unit sought entity? Huh. I have no idea.
Did you get it back? Or you not get back from the Eddy?
I would just go by. Let's find this rope. Hold on.
I just use I like old throw bags for my bow and stern lines.
Yeah, but not everybody has.
I know.
Ultra rest.
Ooh, good question, Nick. Was it locking or non-locking carabiner?
I hope it was locking.
Yes.
Hold on, share. Let's go to Sterling's website. We might as well talk about rope for a second. Share. Here we go, I'm pulling this up. So this is the rope you're talking about, I think. The Ultra line.
Yeah.
This is really nice rope. And you can buy it directly from Sterling. This makes...
I think it's too nice for a bow and a stern line, though. I don't think you need that nice for bow.
So we use the 3/8 inch this for our bow and stern lines on our gear boats.
Really?
Yep.
Fancy pants.
It's a little expensive, but...
Yeah, it's super expensive.
I mean, this is for 150 feet. Yeah, it's a little expensive. Yeah, we get the 3/8. So you can buy. Wow, I think this is inflation. 600 feet is $919. What's going on?
It's you know what? It's made with oil.
High strength braided Spectra core. This isn't what we use. I think we use something else. Let's look at all the ropes. We use the water line, I think. Yeah, we use this red water line. Sorry.
What's its strength?
It's pretty strong. It's 1,600 pounds.
Okay, yeah.
This is technically water. So this is not the Spectra. The other one was the Spectra. So you can buy. It looks like $1 a foot, about, depending on how much you buy, a little more. So we were getting this. Less than that. So this is what I've been getting, the 3/8 inch water line for our bows and sterns. And so if you needed to use it in a rescue, you have something that's usable in a rescue, right? You're not pulling on some old rope and like grabbing the rope. Like Aaron, I know you're looking at comments ahead laughing. Why don't you be a part of that conversation?
And I just glanced over. Once in a while.
You get that look in your face when I'm talking and you're like, not even listening. What kind of show is this if you don't listen?
Well, so, someone's got to pay attention to all the comments to let you know when we need to
you pull them up. Then I'm the one that has to pull them up all the time. Like, not only am I managing what's on the screen, but I have to pull up comments as well. All right, so anyway, let's go back. This is a great rope for bow line and stern line, if for a gear boat. And the other one for paddle boats, I really like the grab line. This stuff, because it has a nice texture to it. So for like a 13, 14 foot boat, it's just a paddle boat. It's light.
How strong is it?
It's strong. I don't know. It's strong. Stronger than what you're using. 14.6 kilonewtons, 3,000 pounds.
That's stronger than the other one?
Doesn't make sense. Let me look. Hold on. Water line.
I mean, Zach, it makes sense. Like the strongest is the Ultra, the grab line's the next strongest, and the water line's the weakest. They're going in order.
Clinical. I was looking at the 8 millimeter. I mean, there's different sizes. Oh. So here's for the depends on the size. I mean, there's some that's 5,700. We get the 3/8, which I think is 9.5. I don't know. It's so funny how they use metric sometimes and not metric other times here. This is what we get. It's all back order though. But anyway, and then the other one that they have here is the Ultra line. This is straight up rescue rope. That I would not use this expensive stuff for bow lines. Okay, we're on a crazy sidetrack now.
Yeah, but that was interesting. That was good, Zach.
Ooh, non-locking.
Oh, yeah. John.
Yeah, John. Haven't you watched our show?
Hopefully you're not doing that anymore.
At least a dime or two.
Yeah, that's right.
Come on, NRS. Go NRS. Where's that sponsorship? So what I was saying was that unfortunately that the throw bag that Aaron likes. What's that throw bag called again? Let's go to the NRS section of the show where we talk about how great NRS is. You like this one, right, Aaron? That's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, the Pro. Yeah.
And you'll see that if you look at the specs.
I just like the line's great.
It's the same line.
You can throw it. Yeah. And you can throw it. It's not the best, but you can throw it.
It doesn't say that it's Spectra rope. It does. I'm sorry, it's not Spectra. It doesn't say that it's that rope by Sterling, but it is. Huh. But the bag sucks, right? You have to admit that. This bag is incompetent. We love you, NRS. We want to be sponsored by you.
I've done a lot of rescues with those. And I've thrown them to a lot of places. They work.
Okay, let me just tell you some of the issues with this throw bag. This
Zach,
thing here.
Are we trying to get NRS sponsorship?
Yeah, but we got to be honest too. We got to keep it real.
This is really think if your hand gets stuck in there, you're not going to be able. It's not going to just break free. Have you tested the break?
Yeah, I've tested it.
On it?
Yeah, it's strong. This is a hand entrapment. This thing is a hand entrapment. This thing is a hand entrapment. I'm not looking. There's 3 hand entrapments, or maybe more. There's 4. There's this loop you get a hand through.
Yeah, but you don't have to rig it that way. You can put it inside, Zach. That's just the way they have rigged it. I agree with you. But you don't have to use it that way.
This is a hand entrapment. And then there's a thing that goes over the top, I believe. Maybe not.
But it tightens down. You can tighten down. It's just like the coconut.
But you got to remember to tighten it down. Everybody does.
Exactly. The one on the bottom also, you can retie it in a smaller loop. You can take care of it.
So that's the point. You shouldn't. And also, so when you get this, take this thing and cut the ends and just make them loose lines, not a loop. But you shouldn't have to adjust your safety.
Exactly. What I do with that is I just tuck the whole thing inside the top of the bag, and you don't have to worry about it.
You tuck this thing inside the bag.
Yeah, all the way in, and then the little cinch strap over the top of it. I cinch it all down in there, and then you don't have to worry about it. It's all put away.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever.
But I will say that's an easy way to make it better.
Aaron, it's good that you like this NRS bag because I think it's awful. And if we want to get them sponsored, one of us has to like their stuff.
Do you own any of those, Zach?
I have one.
Just one?
Yeah. Nick was with me. We tested this. We did a bunch of throw bag tests. We threw this versus other bags, and this one does not throw well. Like, I know you're a superhero saving people's lives with it.
Well, you remember I did win the throwback competition when we took that course together.
You did not win.
Yeah, I did win. That's why I got the kayak hat. Yeah, I got the kayak Ecuador hat. I won the
throwback competition. Oh, with this bag?
Santi. With this bag. What Santi had us do. Yeah, with that bag.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Santi had us do that throwback competition. I won. with that bag.
Yeah.
Thanks, NRS.
Yeah. Aaron, that's what's that called? What kind of data is that when it's only one example and all of a sudden?
Yeah, my wife could tell us. Yeah, it's what is that? What's the term?
It's bad data.
Yeah, it's not just bad data. It's oh gosh, yeah, can't think of the term either right now.
All right. The other question we have here, with now that we're the NRS corner, we can just agree and disagree. Like, I think that NRS throwback is awful. You can like it. That's fine.
I don't understand the clip set. The way they have the clip set looks really weird to me.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Is this
on NRS?
Yeah.
Would you ever set up a clip like that? Yikes.
What do you mean?
Well, the way that they got spacer above the stirrup, and they got it going so high up above, like the tower goes up so high with the little rubber stopper way up high there. I'd want it a lot lower. It's kind of a weird setup. Why are they doing it like that? That's weird.
I don't know. But this thing right here, the thing that goes around the outside, whatever it's called, when it comes out, the stirrup, it just lays down in the stirrup. You can't shove it back in. So you really want
No, I think they've got it separated. I think they've got the spacers on each side of it, so it won't do that now.
No, Aaron, I taught a class with some people who had these. It was awful.
Change the other photo. Look the other image that we were looking at before. You had another image on the go.
This one?
Yeah, no, the other image, the third image.
That one.
Yeah. Now see how they have the spacers in multiple places. I think that's the one they have, and so then they put so they have the stirrup between those spacers. That's what it looks like.
That's cool. They had it. I can just tell you from practically using these things, because the stirrups are just fabric. When the ore comes out, it hangs down.
Okay.
Just you can't. You know how when you're running pins and clips and it pops, and you just shove it back in. This one, when it pops, it hangs down.
I thought, so I got what you're saying. Yeah, it goes like this. It goes like those leather ones they used to make.
Yeah. You want the hard plastic ones.
Sometimes also on the back end, though, on the pin part, it'll slide down there too. And even if you've got stiff ones, if it slides down that side, it becomes a problem. But I see what you're saying. You know what works really well is old kayak. If someone has an old beater kayak, you just cut out a piece of it and bend it, put holes in it, and it works really well.
Yeah, because all of my friends have old beater kayaks. The other thing though, Aaron, do you like how the tops of this, like this, there's a couple choices. So do you like the top of this or do you like the balls? You know what I'm talking about?
I prefer the rubber.
Okay, so I think one advantage some people would say of these NRS ones is that this top part is a big piece of rubber, and so if you fell on it, you're less likely to get hurt.
Right. And those balls, you are always having to tighten them. They always come loose. They pop off in the middle of a rapid. It's a pain.
Where this has the top of the rubber thing. There's a nut you just kind of crank down.
But the problem with these is if you bend your pin, you've got to take a hacksaw right behind there, and you got to cut through the whole bolt to get all your stuff off. Because you can't
this one.
With this one. With the other ones, if they bend, you just undo the little ball at the top and pull everything off. So that's the annoying part of this one. So there's some people in the class I taught who listened to the show, so they decided to go pins and clips because I like pins and clips, and they got this setup. And I'm just gonna say it was awful. No, it doesn't.
And I wouldn't recommend this. We do love you, NRS, and we want you to sponsor the show, but some of your products need some work. And I'm gonna say, in my opinion, this is awful. So I wouldn't do this. So to answer the question, the long way of answering the question is, I would go with the Clavey ones you mentioned. I'm gonna pull those up now.
The problem too is with that style, where I've liked that style that we're looking at there, is where they've got a nut that's been welded to the frame, and so you just screw it into the nut and it goes into the frame and it stays there. And I prefer those. Yeah,
but the thing is, you can't move like that. It's assuming your frame has a nut.
No, that's what I mean, and that's a very unique situation.
Yeah, you don't want that. You want to be able to move these between boats. Like, let's say you're on somebody else's frame, you want to be able to switch the throw pins out for the oar locks. Like, I'm moving these things between boats all the time. I prefer this thing, even though the ball, like you could fall on the ball and more likely to get hurt. This is metal. Like that piece down there, like that one from NRS was just a bunch of plastic PVC.
But you can switch that. You can switch that out too. Like, and I agree. The metal sheath is nice.
My point is, you shouldn't buy them from NRS. Have to swap everything out. Like what's your like the people who bought them and used them, they showed up and I'm like, you need to change this entirely. It doesn't come from the shop ready to work. This Clavey one is tried and true. This one has worked for zillions of years. It works. And then you buy these oar stirrups. Oops. Sorry, I messed up. These oar stirrups. This is the one you want. Right? Or you can cut your friend's kayak, whatever you want to. These things are tried and true oar stirrups. And then look, Clavey is selling NRS's oar clip. So you just get their oar clip and you're ready to go. Oh, look, they have the NRS stall pin. They have it all. So I would, it's a long way of answering a question, is I would go with the Clavey ones. But we do love NRS, so please consider sponsoring us.
Man. When I get a chance, I'll want to put a video together, actually, how to set up a good set of pins and clips.
Oh, dude, people desperately need it.
Yeah, we need that.
Yeah, the world needs it. Yeah, thanks, John. We're back to throw bags. The one, so Aaron, that one, no, the one that we got from Europe, they're amazing.
Really?
They destroyed that NRS one. That's the word we're looking for, anecdotal.
Anecdotal, yes.
Wait, how's Aaron winning trophies?
That's right. Just you gotta accept it, Zach. Because I winning throwback competition.
I don't remember you winning that, and I'm gonna actually just.
I have the.
I get it, but like I'm not
from Santee.
These are the throw bags that I'm gonna recommend right here. I mean, a lot of you have seen these. I recommended them. These things, they pack well. They're well made. They're just expensive, and they come from Europe.
How do you order one? How do I order one, Zach? What do I do?
Go to the internet and use the internet, Aaron.
And then how do I get it shipped to the U.S.?
Called shipping.
Will they just ship it to the U.S.?
Yeah. So, Aaron, I don't have to think about you winning a throwback competition with one of the most. That is what the least throwable throwback I know of.
I won that competition. I destroyed you guys. Yeah.
One of three things is the truth. You got super lucky. No, one of four things is the truth. You got super lucky. We all really suck, and you just are average and did better.
I'm skilled.
You're really, 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 really good at the throw bag. Or I'm wrong about the NRS throwbacks.
I'm just gonna say this. I don't think I'm that much better. I had a good day, but I wasn't like that lucky. But I also don't think the NRS throwback's that bad.
It's pretty bad. Anyway, the company is.
When we used to do at Marty's, we used to do the competition every year using those throwbacks.
Yeah, well, if everybody's using them, it's fair. I can't believe you use that and people had better throwbags and you still beat them. I think it's a lot.
Cool.
It's not repeatable. This is anecdotal. This is Aaron. This is anecdotal.
Remember, he would drag the kayak and you had to throw it over the kayak.
I don't remember this.
Yeah, because you don't want to remember it just getting destroyed. It was I'll say. All right.
So the company, for those of you that want to know, this is the company right here. Actually, it's WWTC. This is how you go through him directly. And man, I have an 18 right now, which seems a little short though, but it's nice. I'm a big fan of these throw bags. All right. Roddy, it is hard to get a throw bag. I would say like the Kokatat Huck is pretty good. This one's really nice.
You guys, I'm going to say this. What do you use a throw bag most of the time for? Pulling boats off rocks and for hanging stuff at camp to dry out. Mm-hmm.
It matters, Aaron. It does matter because when you're throwing it in the water to save somebody, you want to be like when you use it the 5% of the time to get somebody, you want to be good. You want to be accurate with it.
Well, I'm going to say this. It's less about the equipment. It's more about the practice.
That's true. But why not have both?
I agree, but I think it's like you're talking about like these little things to help versus like the big thing is just practicing. And if you practice with your NRS, you're going to be better than most people. If you practice and you have an NRS, you're going to be better than most people. If you practice.
I'll tell you what I thought is like we were trying all the throw bags out. And the NRS one was so different because it was so heavy because that rope is really heavy and that bag is floppy. Once you got used to throwing like really easy throw bags, we kept messing up with the NRS one. But if we had just used the NRS one, we'd probably be really good with it.
And that's why I beat you guys because I use that NRS one all the time.
But that's why
I use it too. That's why I use it too.
That's not why you beat us. You beat us for one of four reasons. One, we all suck. Two, you're lucky. 3, the NRS ones actually may be better, or 4, something else. You didn't beat us with that throw bag's better. Because you're more practiced with that throw bag. Where I use a different throw bag like almost every time, not every close.
Well, that goes against Mark's recommendations. Have your throw bag and be comfortable with it. And that's where you have your own throw bag, so you know you're good with it. You know what it's going to do.
But you know how like I have my own throw bag now. I'm wearing a lot like as a waist belt. But when I work for different people or with different people, we'll have different throw bags. And so when the company provides throw bags, you're going to use the throw bag the company provides. So you should practice with that one.
Yep.
Water polo.
Good luck. Nice, Barrett. Yeah, JOs. Have a good time, buddy.
What's JO?
The Junior Olympics.
Never had a problem with these, but I don't know what that means. Yeah, Gaspar. These are the throw bags from Gaspar. They're amazing. Throw bag competitions. All right, whatever. Tom and Jeff. Yeah, those guys are awesome. The NRS or clip has those sharp pipe clamps too. You need to cover those up too. Yeah, so when you're using pins and clips, you have the pipe. What are they called again? Not pipe clamps.
Hose clamps.
Like hose clamps. Yeah, they can get sharp and cut fingers, so you gotta be careful with those.
So, what do you do to prevent that?
Not enough.
So, because I think this is worth a talk about. Because I remember. Do you remember that guy Travis from AO? He cut his hand deep with one.
Yeah, and actually, I think I just heard another story from some guy who cut his hand a couple weeks ago on one too.
So first thing I make sure that they're not like hanging out a bunch, and make sure they're like flush. But the other thing is like I've seen people do pieces like that.
Electrical tape.
Doing the electrical tape over it.
Yep.
Or duct tape over it, which if they're own personal, that's what I used to like to. But also you can use like the little rubber tubing. Webbing too works too.
I've used half-inch webbing. You put half-inch webbing around it. Yeah. I'd say one thing is replace the hose clamps every so often. Well, the problem is they get super old, they get cut. Just replace them.
But even that, they're still sharp on the end. They're always sharp.
No, they're not.
Yes.
Brand new ones are not sharp.
Yes.
No, they're not.
Have you looked at them? They're sharp.
Dude, I have a bunch. I just don't have any here.
Yeah, pull one up and show me the end of it and tell me you can't cut your hand on it.
I don't think I have any here because I don't have gear in the gear.
You can always cut your hand on them.
I might have one. Let me just look. I might have one here. Well, probably not.
They're like a little point on them. They're like
they squared off. You don't make them sharp, Aaron. They come from the dull from the factory.
They're not that dull, Zach. They're like
they're not that sharp.
Anyways, going back to it, I think there's a couple other points here. What Zach was talking about is you can take like some 3/4 inch or half-inch webbing, tubular webbing, and you can put it through the webbing, and then you can put the end, as you tighten it, you can tuck the end back into the webbing so it gets held underneath it. The problem I've seen is like, don't use a long piece of webbing over the whole thing because that webbing gets wet and then it's easier for the oar to spin in it. Oh, yeah. So I just want enough webbing for it to go inside. And the other thing I've seen people use is like air hose or something like that, like small diameter rubber hose, and they'll put over it so they can stick the end inside there as well. But if like personally, I really like taping mine, just having tape over them, and then they're super flush. But then I also double up and do 2 hose clamps behind the clip.
I've been doing 2 hose clamps too.
2 hose clamps behind the clip and 1 up front, and then it's just less likely to twist in there.
So the people that we're talking about, I pulled this photo up. The hose clamps, those things. Oh, you know what is sharp is the little screw things.
The screws are sharp too. The screws are also sharp.
Those come out of the box sharp, but the ends don't come out of the box sharp. They just
they do.
They get sharp when they hit a rock and they get like cut off.
No, the ends are
they're not sharp, Aaron. That's ridiculous.
Are you kidding?
Yeah. You know, somebody should invent a better thing to put these on than hose clamps. Maybe NRS could do that. So, okay, let's finish up. Nobody cares about pins and clips. Everybody thinks we're morons for even liking them. But to answer the question, we like the. I really like the Clavey ones more personally.
Yeah. No, I think the Clavey system makes more sense than what they have going right there. Like I prefer this one, but it's tricky to use this system. So
yeah, so people are like the WWTC theater bike. You see a lot of people are pretty stoked on it. They're really nice, and Nick has the little Cocotat one that it's pretty sweet. I like that one too, Nick. I got a couple of them now.
That's a nice throw bag. That's a beautiful. Yeah. I think that's the best of the little throw bags, particularly here in the U.S.
The Gaspar ones are better.
But you can easily purchase here in the U.S.
Yes, you can pick it up on Amazon even.
I don't think the gas bar is better than that one, though.
It's better than that one. Dude, I have both. I've used them both a bunch.
I don't like that whole material. Like it's a little like, I don't know, a hair thing. Like
you're just a hater. Like you're just a hater.
I've never liked that. Yeah.
Whatever. The Cocoa ones, actually, Nick's, when he first got it, broke kind of. Like one of the little things came off of it. And it's not as durable. Like the gas bars, that material is more durable, so it's going to last a lot longer. The gas bar one has better rope. The rope in it, he has custom designed and made for that throw bag. And then also it has a little pocket for the carabiner. And so you can have the little leave a carabiner.
Yeah, I just don't think you don't need to put a carabiner in there.
I think you do. So we can just agree to disagree. What if you throw a throw bag to somebody? Aaron, what are most throw bags deployed for?
To get someone off a rock.
You said earlier to get a boat off a rock.
No, you get a person off a rock.
Whatever. When you throw, you already know what I'm getting at. When you throw a throw bag to a raft, they need a carabiner to attach it to the boat. So the carabiner's there, it makes it easier. Or for a million other reasons, you might use it.
Yeah, but if they miss and that carabiner hits them in the face, it's going to hurt them. Even with that little padded thing.
It's padded.
It's not that padded.
It's that padded. It's that padded, Darren. Come on. Most places are back order. Is this on throw bags? You know, one of my ideas there, and I want to start like a little online store and sell some things around here. And it's to buy a bunch of those throw bags from Gas Bar and then be the U.S. distributor.
That'd be cool.
Do you use oar keeper straps and pins and clips? We don't tie our oars to our boats with pins and clips.
No, that's the nice thing about oar with pins and clips. If you have this set up right, you really don't need oar leashes. Yeah.
Now I would say with this NRS one that's floppy, you might want oar leashes because I saw this is poorly designed, and so I would probably use oar leashes with this one. But if you had the Clayview one, you shouldn't need them.
Zach, I just heard NRS called and they said they're dropping. They decided not to sponsor us.
Look, we have their website open right now. They should love our show.
And you're talking trash about it.
No. All press is good press. No, I'm being honest. Like, come on, they're not making all their money off of these.
This is a bizarre setup. I don't really understand what.
Yeah, they're not making they're not making their money on this. Let's pump something else really quick so that they know we like them. Let's what else do they sell? What does NRS sell here? They sell Gore-Tex Pro. This is where they make their money. So
we got a lot of comments here. Let's go back to some comments.
Here we go. Aaron, look at this beautiful NRS dress suit. This is a brilliant piece of equipment. Gore-Tex Pro, well designed.
Have you tried it,
worth
Zach?
buying. Everybody should buy at least one of these.
Zach, have you tried this?
I'm about to. I have a tester right now. I have one in my garage. I'm gonna test it out next to my go-boating.
What kind of zippers do they have?
It actually looks really cool. I don't know.
What kind of zippers does they have? It looks like the cheaper
zippers.
Like
that one.
Is it the metal ones?
You want the metal ones? I don't like the metal ones.
The metal ones.
Anyway, I mean, NRS isn't like they're made. I would use the word affordable, not cheaper, when you talk about our sponsor, Aaron, our theoretical sponsor. All right, let's go to comments. We'll leave this NRS webpage open while I do comments so people can know how much we want to get sponsored. Jeez. Rubber bike tire, rounded on.
Shameless.
And they're rounded on the ends. Yeah, there actually are some really cool aftermarket hose clamps. I've seen a couple of them.
They might be rounded, but they're still sharp.
They're rounded. They're not made sharp, Aaron. That's ridiculous.
They're so thin. They're like a knife. Knives are rounded on the end too, and they're still sharp.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, the HF, again, that's a European company. Haldor, thank you. HF has some sweet throw bags too. I've never thrown them, but they look cool. Only Clayview are available. There you go. I don't think Clayview even makes them. I think Recrotech maybe makes them. Actually, I don't even know. I shouldn't say anything. It's pins and clips on rope. Yeah, I throw the clip over the rope wrap when I do it. Depends on the size of the rope wrap and the clip.
Yeah, you can use it with rope wrap. That's kind of annoying.
Yeah, it's all
because
you can do.
Well, going back and forth because then you're going to need bigger hose clamps, and so like switching back and forth, and I don't like it. And then it doesn't slide on as easy when you pop it off. Then it catches on the rope more, and you got to finagle it more to get it back in when you pop an oar.
It's not ideal, but it works.
It works. Yeah, it works. I wouldn't go out and buy a rope.
It does depend on the oar diameter though, because some of the a lot of the oars now are really thin, right? They're making these smaller diameter oars, so sometimes you want the rope wrap for it to fit well.
That's interesting.
Actually, so like if you're using like wooden oars, like Sawyer Stouts, it's not going to work.
But you're not using rope wrap on most of the carbonate ores. I mean, there are a couple, but most of the narrow ones, the small ones are metal. Yeah, but they're not that. They're not that. Yeah, the company ones aren't that narrow in diameter, are they?
No, they're big diameter. It's hard to put rope wraps. And so if you have a regular outfitter diameter oar with a rope wrap, it's hard to put a clip on there.
Yeah.
But like a regular diameter oar and rope wrap is probably going to be fine.
Well, have you seen regular diameter oars with rope wrap on them?
Yeah, it's happening all the time. Go private boating sometime. Let's see.
I go private boating all the time.
Private boating isn't taking a what are those little dinner tube things you take? Yeah, it's not taking a pack raft down some Hawaiian stream. That's not private boating.
I'm getting scared of getting leptospirosis. No, it's not.
What pumps do you recommend for multi-day K trips? Yeah, the smallest K pump is sweet. There's a really small K pump. Do you know what I'm talking about? K pump. There's a tiny. There's just like the tiniest one. Paddleboard. Maybe it's a paddleboard one. No, it's not one of these. Oh, these are high pressure raft pumps. The mini.
The stubby.
Or the K40 or the K4. I think this one is the one I like. It's just really small. It doesn't take up much space. It does just fine. This one's pretty sweet. All right. Sawyer. Yeah, it'll fit on the Sawyer square top. It should. The Sawyer square tops are really thin too, Aaron. I mean, honestly, I just buy some new oars. No, because I'm not a fan of square tops. Like I just get.
Ooh, I have used a pair of square tops with the kayak paddles on them. Those were really fun to use at low water. They're really good.
Sure.
Yeah, it was less about the square top. It's more about the kayak blade on it. But the kayak blade was really fun.
That Sawyer, you mean the Sawyer blade, the shoal? It's called the shoal cut.
Yeah, the shoal cut. Yeah, it was nice. Yeah. Particularly low volume when you don't have a lot to purchase. It worked out real well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Clavey didn't include the hose clamps. Does NRS include the hose clamps? I'm looking right now. Yeah, NRS includes the hose clamps, so that's a consideration. It's an NRS plug. Yeah, the mini K pump is sweet. Yeah. Yep. I agree. Smallest cast iron Dutch oven thing. Well, Aaron, I had one more video to watch, but I think we're running out of time.
Let's save for another week. Yeah.
Okay. We watch the beginning. I'm gonna say. Let's watch the beginning really quick because I need you to tell me if this is stupid or not, and then I just won't bring it up again. Does that sound good?
Okay.
All right. So this is from a kayak trip I did. My friend made this video on Indigo Creek. Fast forward a little bit. Would this kind of thing be fun to watch, or should we just skip it?
That'd be an interesting conversation. Okay. Are there inflatable kayakers, dudes, or just all cool hard shell kayakers?
I'm in an inflatable kayak, so there's like a tiny bit of video of me in an inflatable kayak.
Yeah, I think it'd be worth the conversation.
Okay, cool. I'll say this has been in the queue for a while. And I think you dig it. It's an interesting section. Like a lot of discussion about wood, but also this is where like I think a pack raft would struggle.
Maybe let's table it for next week because we don't have time to discuss this in detail like we'd like. But it looks like some cool footage. So stay tuned next week. Are you around next week, Zach?
I think so. Hold on. There's much plenty feel safe for you while it's raining. Killed an NRS blast last week. I mean, what's an NRS blast? I'd use the Makita. I think the Makita would be okay. It depends how much it's raining. Oh, Aaron, need a trivia question. What's wrong with you?
I already gave one, but you ruined it.
No, that's a terrible trivia question.
Oh, it's a beautiful one.
No, I'll open up this rescue book and I'll come up with something real quick while you go through these. While you address that.
No, I think you're right. Snorkeler, like it's not a Barney move. It's just like if you have the other option, you're better off. So Where are you going in the outro?
Oh, he's asking about the outro for the show. This is this is after the wind, like driving from the burrito place back to Hood River.
Yeah, let's see here.
We need to have a trivia question here.
I wonder, would this be appropriate? What was the first river that Zach took an unintentional swim on? Rafting.
I don't even know the answer to that. I mean, I'm guessing.
You don't know the answer?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay.
What about like a first aid question? How about a good first aid question? I'm in the first aid section here.
Man, this is rough. Putting this on at the end.
You all should. The longer we keep people on to wait for this trivia question, the more YouTube points we get. Man, I don't know. We do owe them a trivia question. We're better than this, Aaron. We should plan next time.
The trivia is hard.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see answers up there while I look.
I'm looking for something here. All right. What does Zach think? How about this question? What does Zach think is the most important rafting knot?
Most important rafting knot? What I think
what
is?
You think is the most? People have to guess what you think is the most important rafting knot.
I don't know. Oh man. I have an answer in my head, but I'm gonna get hate for it.
I think it's fine though. They have to guess what you think is the most important one.
All right, done.
Okay, let's do it.
Name everybody. This is for members because this is just us giving back. Like, thank you for the few bucks a month you give us. We want to thank you guys with prizes every week. This week you can win you can choose. You can win this amazing book, Whitewater Rescue and Safety by Franco Ferraro. You can win a pair of used Cobra Ore locks that I don't like. Or
We've got a lot of guesses already.
Our
Zach.
Fancy new cup.
They were throwing them out fast.
That's good.
Yeah. I dibs.
How about what the heck is that formula on Zach's whiteboard? You missed the first. You missed the first half of the show, which was awful. Like the first half of our show. If I feel sorry for everybody that watched the first half of our show, you missed it, so you got lucky.
I'm amazed anyone's still on. Yeah.
Okay. Honestly, figure eight or alpine, neither one. That's two guesses right there.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. That's what I figured. I knew that would be yours, the bull one.
And it's not the best knot for a lot of reasons, but it's useful for tying hoopy onto rigging boats. Like if you're gonna rig bags, you don't have cam straps, tying the hoopy on, for tying just a quick rope onto a boat without a carabiner, just to do a quick thing with it. I use it all the time. Nice job, Tomas. So Snorkeler, send an email to Aaron@riversnotions.com with your address and which prize you want.
Yeah.
Which prize you want.
Review. What are the prizes again? What are the options?
The book. Great safety book by Franco Ferraro, 2nd edition. These used Cobra locks, and I have more to prizes, so these will last for a while.
And you got Snorkel, you've got that rope wrap, so you'd love those Cobra locks.
Yep. Yeah, I wouldn't say you'd love them, but you might be misinformed to like them. And what's the other prize?
Were there 2 options or 3?
Oh, my new cup. Not this one. I'll send you a brand new one. It won't be the one I drink out of.
Maybe they can request the one that you've already drank out of.
So good job. Figure eight. Figure eight is probably a close second. My answer should be figure eight. That's probably my favorite. But I use a bowline way more.
The bowline is your favorite knot. Yeah.
Probably trucker's hitch.
It's a good one too.
It's a good one. Figure eight's a good one. It's great. That's the correct answer. Good job, Roddy. Clover hitch. Never used it, but I love the clove hitch. Butterfly knot, which I use it a lot too. I like the
those are good knots.
Knot. Snorkeler. Snorkeler is on the Selway. Sweet.
Yeah, like he used.
Snorkeler wants the book. Nice.
All right. Yeah, nice. Yeah, good.
So much. Here's why, Sean. They're just not as good as regular AOR locks. I guess that's it. The one, I don't have them anymore, but the Canyon Ore locks, I think, are the way to go. I think the Cobras were designed for people to fish, and then Raptor started buying them. And yeah, that's my opinion. I'll stop there. But yep. Oh, that's weird. All right. Aaron, should we shut this down?
Hey, you guys, thanks for tuning in. Amazed how many of you made it to the end, particularly with our us talking about science. Hopefully that won't happen again for a while. What do you got there, Zach?
Wing stickers.
Oh no! Ooh, wing stickers. Maybe someone can win those.
So next week.
Will we be back next Friday? Will you be around?
Yes, I think so.
And there'll probably be. Will there be a Tuesday show? You think?
Oh no, that's June 24th. I may or may not be here. Definitely a Tuesday Q&A show. No, the next Friday is 50-50.
Okay, well, you guys, thanks for tuning in again. Make sure you subscribe. Zach, have you hit 10,000 yet?
No, we're at like 7,000.
Oh, I still got a ways to go.
Almost to 1 million.
Yeah, almost to 1 million. So thanks for tuning in. Yeah, and be sure to like and subscribe. And then can't think of anything else. Oh, please start sending some footage in because you know that wind footage is going to be building up. And
hey,
you want us to talk less about science? And
if we don't have footage,
send us more video.
If we don't have footage, it'll be a lot more science. Maybe next week is math.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be fun. All right, Zach, it was a pleasure. You guys, thanks again.
Aaron, do you want to look at this one last comment?